The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Kupp with us, aka Kupp FYF. What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my handsome co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
You. What up? Let's go.
Dude,
You doing all right this morning?
The moment the camera turned on and we got in here, I realized that we were supposed to wear white today because Maria said so. Because Maria's class is wearing white.
She did. She is wearing white. She was just talking about it. I didn't forget. I just didn't do it.
Oh, I thought about it yesterday. I was like, yeah, I'll wear white, and then just totally didn't. Now it's too late, Simon. You're not gonna find any white.
Yeah, I was looking around.
Stop checking your chair, your floor for white clothes.
I was looking at my underpants to see if they were white. They are indeed not.
Could have told you that one.
Sorry,
Hey.
Maria.
Hey,
I'm still
what are you
stuck in
saying
flannel
about my
mode.
underpants?
I'm saying they're usually brown.
Hey, no. My underpants are blue, JL, because I shit blue. That's what's going on today. We got Maria in the chat. She said, guys, and said, it's okay.
Hey.
Forgave us already. And Craig over here. Good morning, Craig says, fellas, I have not
Morning,
slept in
Craig.
days. Still staring off into the distance, thinking about how Dortch and Stevenson got me 3 total points, and I lost to Mr. Wright, Tim Wright, by less than 1
No.
with combined 3 from Dortch and Stevenson.
No.
Oh my God, that's a bad beat. That's a
That
bad
is
beat.
brutal. If it makes you feel any better, I beat Tim in the other league.
Dude, Greg Dortch either gets 10
I rub
targets or
that one
gets 0.
Yeah, it's like it's either a Greg Dortch game or it
Or
definitely
it's
isn't.
not. Yeah, there's no in
Greg
between.
Dortch
dude.
forgot to show up.
There's no kind of Greg Dortch games.
So
Oh,
it's
and-
full Dortch or no Dortch.
Oh, I love some full Dortch though. And Craig correcting us, it was Joey Wright, not Tim Wright. So JL, your defeat of Tim was in
Damn.
vain.
Yeah.
You
I still
you
got the jab in. It's all
You
good.
slew the wrong dragon. It's like you were
I-
Shrek going to pick up Princess Fiona and you got to the top and it was just a different princess entirely.
Yeah, totally unnecessary, but I don't regret it at all.
Damn, dude.
Jolly Rancher in the chat saying good morning, Jolly Rancher. And what's up, Squirrel Bob? Good morning.
Tommy in the
One
chat
hell of a rhyme
dropping
from Tommy this morning.
full on rap songs, dude. You want me to handle this rap this morning, Simon?
Yeah, you got it, Coop.
I got it. This Tommy just put this in the chat, dude. I know we talk ball, but I just have to mention shout out to the hat trick goal 800 by Ovechkin. Haven't seen him play. Better tune in now. He's 1 goal away from tying Gordie Howe. Soon to be the number 2. Don't you Fretzky. He won't catch you, Mr. Wayne Gretzky. Oh, Tommy, baby, in the chat, dude, with the fire bars. Whew.
How long did that take Tommy to come up with?
Good morning, Tom.
Tommy been up all night in the
Over
lab.
under 28 minutes.
Tommy up all night in the lab, dude.
I'm gonna take. You know what? I bet he's got tomorrow's ready already. I bet this dude is working ahead of time. He said 1 minute. That was a freestyle. He's freestyle typing. He's just going for it in the chat first thing in the morning, getting in there. My TikTok is recently, it goes through phases where like what's really popular on there. Right now, it is very much in a freestyle rap phase where there's just a bunch of freestyle on my page, and I'm not mad about it.
Oh yeah,
It's one of the better
I'm
phases
in that
I've gone through.
freestyle TikTok as well. It's got some good stuff though. Are you in like amateur freestyle TikTok though, or are you in like the radio freestyle?
There's a little bit of both. Like I'll get
You got some
of
LA
like
leakers in there.
yeah, I'll get some people like where it's
Breakfast
just like
Club.
surrounded by a circle and they're just going at each other. And I'll get ones where it's like Lil Dicky on the radio, and it's a
Sway.
pre-written, it's a different kind of freestyle. Like the ones on the radio are generally going to be pre-written, right? But they get up there and they don't know the beat that's going to come up, and they go for it. They change up that cadence, but the words are pre-written. But then there's also the ones that are just going in, like freestyle rap battles in a circle on the spot. Don't know who's coming up next.
I've got some written down raps, dude. We'll have to do rap battles one of these days. But
Rap battles.
dude,
Yeah,
have
that
you
sounds like
seen
a good idea.
the number one best like freestyle guy that make sure you know it's off the cuff? Have you guys ever heard of Harry Mack?
Yeah, I don't like him too much.
But
He's
dude,
good,
he
though.
is
He
he's
is
like
good.
he's like too good, dude. That's part of why it's almost like he's almost like ruining it for everyone that he's so good.
I feel like it makes sense that you like Harry Mack because you kind of look like Harry Mack.
So, he's a pretty handsome fella. So, but he
Oh, I know
you
that
know the
guy.
guy.
He's
He
the
goes
one
on
who- he goes around and like, hey, can I rap for you? And then just like gets a
Right.
big circle around him.
that's part of that part is unlikable.
What I did like is he went on one of the radio stations in LA, I think, and rapped in front of Joey Badass and who else? I think Kendrick as well.
Yes,
And both times he did pretty well in there.
right.
Held his own. Like they were like throwing him words that he had to throw into his freestyle, and that was pretty impressive.
That's a tough crowd, dude.
Not
That's
gonna
a
lie.
tough crowd.
Yeah, and I respect those guys. They know what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, again, it's tough being a freestyle rapper. So having to go up to random strangers on like the internet and on the street, a little off-putting, but the guy crushes. There's no question.
Do you guys remember? This was one that I used to watch in college a lot in high school. Blind Fury. He was this
Yes.
white blind rapper out of South Carolina who would get up there and like at first people would just kind of laugh at him, and then he'd get up there and he would
just crush, bro.
crush over and over and over again. If you guys haven't heard of Blind Fury, go Google Blind Fury and just watch a couple of his battles because they're so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah, no one gives him any respect. And he's out there just like drinking and smoking and just like crushing freestyles.
Oh, he's killing it. Guys, we gave you enough time, hopefully, to go and gather the supplies that you need to make your breakfast, to eat your breakfast. We've got everything else you need this morning. We brought the stories. We brought the topics. You guys just got to bring your bagel, your juice, your omelet, your crepes, whatever it is you're having for breakfast this morning. Coop, you got something to kick us off for BYOB today?
Yeah. As you guys know, I'm a Pats fan. I wanted to talk about, if you hadn't heard.
You don't say.
So I just wanted to talk about a situation that happened this week that was kind of interesting, and DeVante Parker speaking out on it as well. So DeVante Parker took a hit, was clearly concussed, but like when that happens to you, you're disoriented. So he wanted to like stay in the game, and Nelson Aguilar came over and he was like, no, stop the game. Like this guy's hurt. We got to take him out of the game. And they did that, right? And DeVante Parker after he said, get on y'all's effing job, NFL. Thankful my brother was aware of the situation at Nelson Aguilar. So he said after the fact, like, yeah, I was concussed. I didn't realize it. Where is the NFL like supposed to be stopping this stuff? And this isn't the first time we've seen that, right? Tua earlier this year gets knocked out. They let him come back and play right away. And what happens? Another concussion. So not a good look for the NFL.
No. And it does seem like since the Tua situation was so public, right? That wasn't the first time it's happened where they've mishandled concussion. It happens very regularly, but that one was so in front of everyone, right? Like everybody was talking about it. They have done, I think, a better job of handling it overall this year. Joe Mixon, they were especially careful with. We've seen multiple players kind of be held out of games whenever it's questionable, but you're right. They fumbled the bag on this one. DeVante Parker needed another player to alert the referees, to alert the staff that this is going on. Not a great look.
Where did I don't know if I fully understand the whole situation, but I'm confused at where the NFL was at fault here. Because I understand like it's their job to recognize the stuff, and they have like the doctors on hand who probably missed some signs here. But was there another like clearly negligent situation
In this game or just in general? No,
or is this just like a missed, like
it was just that one.
Someone didn't notice
that particular one that like I mean, on the it's probably a lot easier on the broadcast than if you're a medical professional on the sideline. But like, there's no question this guy was like concussed. Like he couldn't even stand up and walk around. You know what I mean? So that it's just that, it's not like it was in this game, there were multiple guys with that situation. It was just the one that they were upset that they missed it.
It makes sense. I do think part of it is like they can only do so much, right? NFL's not omniscient. They can't like tell all of this stuff. They can only put protocols in place. And if those protocols fail, then they have to revise those protocols. But I understand the perspective of DeVante Parker here as well.
Yeah.
And shout out to Nelson Aguilar for noticing it.
Yeah. I mean, I fully sympathize with DeVante Parker here. And that is their one job. If they're not recognizing it, then maybe there needs to be more training in place. Maybe there needs to be more in line, because saying, oh, I didn't know, or oh, our regulations aren't up to speed, or oh, our protocols aren't up there isn't a good enough response, right? Like there needs to be something done. We've seen some changes this year already. Hopefully we continue to see things that help improve player safety. We got Murph in here. Good morning, Murph. What's up? And he said, it's not the NFL's fault. However, they need to find a way to make the teams more accountable, as the sanctions are not enough as it currently stands. Yeah, hopefully they continue to make improvements to protect players, because that head injuries are scary, man. Like truly scary.
The 2-0 backlash makes a little bit more sense, because it like the way that it came off to the public was that they were ignoring the signs in order to further the game, right? They had a rooting interest in the game. They wanted to keep the game going. So that one makes a little bit more sense to me versus this one, but I understand the perspective.
Yeah. Speaking of the Patriots, did you guys see the story Dov Kleiman put out yesterday about Bill Belichick? He tweeted it out.
Yeah.
He said, Bill Belichick selected long snapper David Binn to the Pro Bowl because he was dating Pamela Anderson at the time, and he thought players would like to see Pam in the pool in Hawaii. She didn't come. And Bill went up to the long snapper and said, remind me why the F I invited you then?
So good, dude.
You dirty dog, Bill. You can't do that. You can't just invite a player to the Pro Bowl because you want to see his girlfriend at the swimming pool. That's rude, Bill.
He was definitely just joking around.
Yeah.
But the best part of that story, though, is that it actually came directly from David Binn. Like he was the one that told the story.
Yeah.
So it's a confirmed story that Belichick at least made that joke, which is hilarious.
Craig said, clearly you can just do that, Simon.
That's true.
Yeah. Who am I to say that? That sounded just very Bill, though, whenever I read that.
Dude, the most Bill part of the most Bill part of the whole thing is that he would invite a long snapper to the Pro Bowl. Not like any other position, obviously the position that he treasures. Have you ever seen his long snapper rant?
Isn't that like his whole thing? He loves long snappers.
He loves like weird NFL lore and special team stuff. So like he'll have like a 20-minute, they'll be like, okay, Belichick's gonna talk for 20 minutes. If you ask him the right question, he'll use 15 minutes of that time just going through the like history of the position. And one time with long snapper, he talked for legit 18 minutes or something without stopping. Like just going all the way back to like his time when his dad coached at Navy, and like how the position was revolutionized by like Steve Husker or Tasker or whatever, when it like the first long snapper that would also like go down and tackle guys. Like he's just beaming ear to ear talking about long snappers from the 60s, dude. Psycho.
Reddit's obsessed with long snappers as well. Like a true obsession with long snappers over there. When the long snapper gets drafted, the first one in the NFL draft, it will without fail every year since I've been on Reddit, which is like 2013, that will be the number one post on r/NFL for like 2 days is long snapper drafted in 4th round, 5th round, whatever the hell it is. It just stays up there. It doesn't matter what other big name players get drafted. That's all they care about.
In the offseason, it's like the top 7 posts are long snapper signing, and then 8 is like Von Miller to the Bills, and then the next like 5 are also long snappers. Reddit is just a very strange place. Same thing with if Josh Gordon signs anywhere, right to the top.
Always. Yeah. That's Simon posting that.
Yeah, that's me running over there. That's a hype train I'm alone on still to this day. I'm conducting the world's saddest hype train. It's a ghost train.
2014 though. 2014 Josh Gordon. Never forget.
Oh my
God.
Never
forget.
That's what has me still, like, if he could do that year where he talks about like I didn't get on the field, like I was high and drunk for every single game. Like I was just sitting there thinking, if he could do that, maybe he can do it 8 years later. Know what I mean? Like if he could do that at that state in his life and have that unreal season out there on the Browns, he could come back and do it again.
2013, Josh Gordon led the league in receiving yards while he was drunk and high, and he only played 14 games.
Absurd. Like, it was truly an absurd season to watch. That's why I still believe.
Yeah, those highlights, the Patriots are featured prominently in those highlights, dude. He absolutely scorched us here, and it was just amazing. I think he had 200 yards, 151 yards and a touchdown. Listen to some of these games he had that year. 19 targets, 10 receptions, 146 and a touchdown. 9 targets for 126, 10 targets for 132, 15 targets, 125, 17 targets for 237 and a touchdown. The following game, 15 targets for 261 and 2 touchdowns.
Good God.
The third game after that was that Patriots one. So this guy in back-to-back, this guy 4 games in a row dropped 125, 237, 261, 151.
Pretty good for fantasy.
Oh, good Lord, dude. And the game he had 151 against the Patriots too, he also had a 34-yard run. So he had like 180 something yards.
Josh Gordon.
Wow.
Animal.
Some big news from yesterday, guys. Texans running back Damion Pierce has a high ankle sprain that could cause him to miss as many as 3 games.
Damn, I didn't know that.
This comes from Mark Berman on Twitter.
Wow. So
and what's the incentive for them to rush him back? You know what I mean? Like, they have 1 win.
They're a playoff run, Simon.
They're going to pick first in the draft. They're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. They're going to be extra careful with Damion Pierce coming back. They know what he is now, right? They've got their looks at Damion Pierce. He's gotten plenty of touches. He's like top 5 in running back attempts, rushing attempts in the league. They don't need to rush this dude back out there. He's probably he's probably done for the season. Throw him on your IR spot. You're probably not using him in your playoffs.
Boys, who you guys picking up? Sexy Rexy Burkhead or Dare Agumbawale? Pretty sure.
Dare Agumbawale.
Beautiful.
But the answer is Burkhead, right?
No, it's Dare Agumbawale.
Rex, I'm pretty sure Rex Burkhead had negative yards rushing this week.
Yeah. I believe so too. I saw the play where he got negative over there.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't looking great for Rex. I'll pick up Dare Agumbawale. I don't know how much value he has. A lot of the value in Damion Pierce was great running back on bad team, and it was in spite of the bad team.
Dare had a rush for -3 yards this week, so they're kind of
that's what I'm
seeing who can
saying.
get the lowest.
I'll pick up Dare, but it's not a high priority ad.
Hey, he's more efficient. He did it with less carries than Rex Burkhead.
Oh, they also have Eno Benjamin over there, I believe.
I think they just released him, didn't they?
Did they cut him?
I think they just cut him like earlier this week.
Yep,
that's like
they
me
waived him
with my
yesterday,
Dynasty teams.
Wow, so that
yesterday, so they knew.
Yeah, they waited until after they got in the meeting and they were like,
"Wow, we just lost our starting running back. Now you're out too."
Yeah, also, you out. Yeah, that's like what the Rams did.
Yeah,
that's wild.
That probably hurts Eno's feelings, doesn't it? Like, okay, now we're down a back. This is and I'm gone.
And I'm cut. The Broncos did that too. Yeah, they put Chase Edmonds on IR, and then we're like, Melvin, you're out of here too. You can't be listening to Future in here.
Man, how awful. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. So Eno was on the Cardinals, gets cut, has to move to Houston just in the middle of the year, gets cut, and of course
gets cut.
Of course, he's hoping to get signed somewhere else, right? Like, let's say he gets signed in Seattle. I don't know. And then what? He's just got to pack up and move again. I hate moving. I'm sure they pay for movers. I'm sure the teams help them get all their stuff out there. But like, good God, what a roller coaster. He was killing it in Arizona whenever he was the starter, right? Had a couple great games thinking, okay, this is the job. And then after that, has to move to freaking Houston. And now he's going to have to move again. I'm not about it. I feel bad. It's like and we talk about this, and then Brandon Cooks just moves to a new city every single year.
Yeah, he never signs a lease.
I haven't signed a lease once in my whole life. Merv coming in here saying Josh Gordon signed with the FCF Zappers of the fan-controlled football league while being suspended from the NFL First game, Gordon had 4 receptions for 70 yards and the walk-off Hail Mary. 2 games, 7 receptions for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Josh Gordon getting it done over in the FCF.
He's already a Hall of Famer in that league.
Did you guys watch any of that whenever it was on last year? Any of the fan-controlled football league?
No.
It was bizarre. It was like Twitch stream drone racing meets the NFL. Like the production value was like neon lights and like flashy images, and then they'd get out there on the field. The best part, though, the one thing about it that I loved was the extra points. How they did the extra points. I forget exactly what it was. Now I'm blanking, but they had some pretty cool things. They were testing out different rules over there in the FCF.
Dude, Johnny Manziel was the quarterback for that team. Dude, this was the team. What the heck?
Johnny Manziel throwing to Josh Gordon?
First of all, the FCF Zappers is an amazing team name.
Zap, zap.
Woo woo! We know who their future quarterback is.
Yeah, we do.
One of the partial owner. No, dude, Zappy has a long career ahead of him as a backup quarterback
in the Zappers, in the FCF.
The
backup in the FCF.
The other teams were the Glaciers, the Boys with a Z, the Beasts, and the Wild Aces.
Please tell me that's their actual name is Boys with a Z.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's not you adding commentary on it. It's like that's the full name.
Boys with a Z, yeah.
Well, and every team had like a celebrity attached to it. If I remember correctly, like Marshawn Lynch, I think, was attached to one of them. I think he was the Beast, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the only way they get that.
Dalvin Cook was the partial owner of this team. Also, Trevor May, the professional baseball player. But dude, this was the team. Quarterback, dude, they had quarterback Johnny Manziel. At wide receiver, they not only had Josh Gordon, but they also had Terrell Owens.
Nice.
T.O., dude. If I'm the defense, wait, did fans control the defensive plays too?
I believe it was offensive plays, and if I remember correctly, it was very much like a social credit kind of situation. Know what I mean? Where like the more you participated and the more you did certain things, the more voice you had as the fan controlling. It's like you couldn't just log in and then immediately have like full control over what they were doing over there. It's like the more you participated, the more you involved, they had different things you could do, the more power or like say your account had in determining the next play.
It had to be chaos.
Yeah. Oh, I tried to get into it and I couldn't quite get into it. I want a full Twitch Plays NFL though, like similar to Twitch Plays Pokemon, where it's also just chaos. Everyone who says anything gets a say in what happens next.
Twitch Plays Pokemon was the one where you could just press a button at any time. Didn't that turn out to be a nightmare?
Oh, but they did it. They beat the game. They beat the game. But there were like factions of people coming in and trying to like release the Pokemon.
Yeah,
that
I remember
had, like already had trying to delete the save file, like going through and other people fighting them. It was a fun social experiment. And then they tried it with football.
I wasn't really involved, but I do remember there was a very it got really heated when you had to decide between the two fossils. Right? Was it? What are the two fossils? They turned to Kabuto
and Omastar or Omanite.
I just remember the memes from that part of it where it got real heated.
Oh, they're like they formed religions around the different fossils. Like they were like pseudo religions formed around like worshiping the Helix fossil. In that it was pretty wild. Murph in here giving us some more updates on how it worked over there. So for the extra point, a play starts at the 10-yard line, and the quarterback is given 5 seconds to get rid of the ball. 2-pointers are placed at the 5, and QBs have just 3 seconds to throw. It also plays a role in overtime. After a rock, paper, scissors battle at midfield, teams are given a college-style extra period where a winner will be named after a score and a stop on defense. I like that rock, paper, scissors battles written into the rule book.
Yeah. Is that real?
I remember them playing rock, paper, scissors. So unless Murph's just fully messing with me and we saw the same game, I remember them playing rock, paper, scissors. I didn't know it was part of the rule book, though. That's pretty awesome. Like that. I love all these other leagues, these pseudo leagues. I'm excited for the XFL. I was talking to my girlfriend, considering getting some season tickets. It's 5 games, like $170, I think is what it costs. But at the very least, we'll go to 1 or 2 of them. It's right down the street. I'm excited for football once football is done.
I want that
when does it start,
man.
After football, I'll figure out when it starts.
You don't know when.
Yeah, no, it's sometime after NFL.
There's sometime.
It's just sometime after this for sure.
Guys, I got some more bad news.
No.
Bearer of bad news today. First of all, Kyler Murray definitely tore an ACL. So he's done for the season. And then Sean McVay came out yesterday and said Cooper Kupp almost certainly will miss the rest of the season. There's a chance Aaron Donald will return, but probably not to practice this week. So Cooper Kupp, he done. Kyler, done.
Do you know Cooper Kupp is still a top 10 PPR wide receiver right now?
I did. Thank you. Thanks to Jeopardy yesterday.
He's number 9 on the season. He's played 9 games. Other people have 4 games on him. And he says, I'm still sticking around. I'm still top 10 with 4 fewer games than everyone else in the top 10.
Wild.
So like first round pick next year? Where are you drafting Cooper Kupp next year?
Yeah, first round. He's him and Justin Jefferson are still in conversation for that first overall pick for me, I think. Like what he was doing before he got injured was scoring 22 points a game. That's what else do you want from your first round pick?
Yeah, probably still first round pick. It'd be interesting to see what they do on the offensive side of things, offensive line, what sort of moves they make in the offseason.
Yeah. I mean, Cooper Kupp's the one player on the team that I don't really care. You know what I mean? Especially if Matthew Stafford's still the quarterback. I just don't really care what else they do. We saw this year, even on a bad team, Cooper Kupp was hyper targeted. It was the Cooper Kupp show over and over and over again. I'll still draft him. It's the ancillary pieces. It's the secondary receivers. It's the running backs. It's Matthew Stafford himself where, man, they got to get that dude some help on the O-line. Like, just absolutely have to. He's not going to make it if they don't. What are you doing now? I also saw from McVay yesterday, JL, that John Wolford is likely out for week 15 and Baker Mayfield is your Rams quarterback.
Yeehaw.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I didn't like Baker in any of the previous iterations, the previous seasons, but this Baker, still don't like him. But that one game was fun, right?
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun last week. Like, that was fun watching Baker come in with the narrative of only playing for 10 minutes with the Rams and then pulling out a W. Like, that was a fun game.
Pull out game strong.
They still have a horrible offensive line. His protection isn't nearly good enough for that pullout game to continue succeeding the way it did in the last round. So Baker, cool story. Still playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league. It's probably not going to go super well.
Yeah, kind of a tough schedule coming up. They got Green Bay, Denver, and then the Chargers, which is it's not the worst, but not fantastic either.
Yeah.
Tim wants to know, is Skoranek an ad now with the news that Cooper Kupp's definitely missing the rest of the season and Baker's getting the start? Because he seemed to like Skoranek out there.
He's flexible. He's someone you might need to fill in on if you have injuries, that sort of thing. I'm not super hyped to start him. I'm not throwing him in there over most starters, though.
Right. It's a 1-game sample size. But if he comes out and has 7-8 targets again this week, now you got 2 games. Now you have a trend going, right? So I don't know. I'm willing to add him, but like JL said, pretty risky to start him, dude, because like when
you start him against Denver in week 16 right. and then you're out of the playoffs.
You won't be surprised if he has 0 catches at some point, but
yeah,
still could do worse, you know?
Yep, you could.
Some guys never get 8 targets ever. So
in their life.
I've never gotten 8 targets. Not once in a single game that I've played have I gotten 8 targets.
Neither has N'Keal Harry.
Neither has N'Keal Harry.
Hakeem Butler, I don't even know if he got any targets. But the Dynasty community really seemed to like him.
They did. There was an interesting quote from Mike McDaniel yesterday about the game this weekend, saying that some Dolphins players went rogue on Sunday Night Football, disregarding the scheme in an attempt to make plays. He said you don't do that in 11-on-11 football with any sort of consistency or success. It wasn't just one player. It wasn't one position. It wasn't one side of the ball. They're about to get – I feel like McDaniel's been like you know what? If you're cool, I'm cool. If you're cool, I'm cool. Like, that's been his coaching style. I think they're about to get hard-ass McDaniel this week, where he comes out and he's like, you guys want to mess around?
Bad boy McDaniel.
Like, you guys want to mess around? Watch this. And I think he's got it in him.
Good, dude. I mean, they've been cool up to this point. And this isn't the first time we've seen a coach come out and say something like that. The Patriots, people remember Jamie Collins was like pretty highly touted. And then out of nowhere, seemingly, he was just traded to the Browns. And that's why, that's why he was traded. because apparently he, started getting cocky and then started going against the scheme. You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be watching a lot of these defensive plays. They're only successful if every person holds down their spot, if every link in the chain is solid. So if you're supposed to be in B gap, you're supposed to be in that B gap, right? And when you're supposed to be in that spot, and then you start going after other things, that's when you fall for the fake, and they run the counter right up the B gap, and you let your whole team down. So every man has to do their job. So I'm not surprised he's pissed. People going off topic. Speaking of this particular topic, did you guys see the reports on Tom Brady and the coaching staff? Dude, there was a little bit of a rumor floating around that Tom Brady, probably even worse than going rogue on Sunday, he legit installed new things to the game plan with the other players before the game that the coaches didn't even know about. He legit
Nice.
changed the game plan. It was like there's no time to if we tell the coaches, they'll shut us down. So he's like, we're just gonna go. Like, he legit is
he's like the oldest cousin. When you all get together, the oldest cousins just run. They're like, listen, we can't tell the parents.
right.
We got to go under the table and tie their shoes together. Don't
Here's
tell
what-
anybody. This is what we have to do.
You'll understand. Meet me
right?
back up down there afterwards.
Yeah.
You'll understand later. You'll understand later. And don't worry,
Yeah.
no one's gonna get in trouble.
Yeah,
But then
I got
everyone
you.
gets in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked by this. And I feel like Brady, similar to how Peyton Manning had a lot more freedom whenever it came to calling plays and stuff, I feel like Brady has earned that level of freedom. And this coaching staff, it seems like he bought in at the beginning of the year, right? He was like, okay, let's make this work. And it's been awful for them in Tampa Bay. Dude's probably just frustrated.
Here's the quote. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Quote. The night before each game, Brady runs a separate meeting with the Bucs skill players, during which he goes over the game plan, makes tweaks to assignments and formations, and provides a revised blueprint. One which first-year head coach Todd Bowles, offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich, and the rest of the staff are left to discover in real time once the game begins. That's from Michael Silver of the San Francisco Chronicle. So pretty legit reporter too.
From the San Francisco Chronicle. That sounds like a smear campaign out of San Fran to try to convince him to get out of Tampa Bay and over to San Francisco for next season.
Could it be?
And Tommy in the chat saying Brady to the 49ers. I said that earlier this week. I'm with you, Tommy. I could see that next year. Dude wants another Super Bowl, and that team is just sitting there waiting for a Tom Brady.
How do you make that move as Shanahan without admitting that you missed on Trey Lance?
Yeah, that hurts. That would bring great pain.
That looks really bad for him.
I don't know. I think you could do it without admitting you missed on Trey Lance. You could say, yeah, this guy's our future, but we're going to have 1 year with the greatest quarterback of all time before our future quarterback, who's still in his 20s, has 10 plus years left in his career. You know what I mean?
Are you sure he's still the greatest quarterback of all time?
I mean,
yeah, but what if the worst option is you stick with Trey Lance and he just stinks and you never win?
I know. Yeah, it's a bet. It's a bet. I'm just commenting on the fact that it would look bad for Shanahan, not necessarily in the merit of it.
Sorry. Let me correct that. The worst possible option is you draft Josh Rosen and then you move on from him the following year and draft Kyler Murray, and then you only win 4 games. That's the worst possible option. And
then Josh Rosen goes off and is a franchise QB for someone else.
Yeah, imagine he comes back. Yeah, and then Kyler Murray, you pay him a giant contract that goes through 2027, and then you win 4 games and he tears his knee up. Yeah, that would be the worst option. That one.
Ouch.
And Tommy in here says Trey needs to learn. What better guy than Tom Brady? Easy sell. Easy sell. That's exactly how they would frame it. Trey's going to learn behind the greatest quarterback of all time for a year and then take over this offense. Especially coming back from an injury. So we'll see. And we got Murph in here saying Trey Lance started 5 games in 3 years. He's just taking his time, developing down there, taking his time. It's going to be great once he gets in there.
Rhamondre Stevenson said is reportedly hopeful to play on Sunday. He was spotted by NBC Sports' Phil Perry after the game, not sporting a boot or using any crutches to serve that injured leg that he was dealing with. Kupp, Mr. Dancing Elvis or Flying Elvis, whatever they call it,
That's
What do you
if the
think about
flying goes.
Rhamondre scene? Are you hopeful he plays this Sunday?
So no boot for what reason? Like he's just trying to walk it off. Like
I
sometimes
don't need it.
classic dude mentality. Like right, like
I'm
well,
fine.
I'll just cut my own cast off, and then I won't be hurt anymore. Right? Yeah, I don't know about that, man. We'll see. There's Patriots since they won this week, they're still in it, so they're in that spot where you just got to keep riding. You know, like the Giants starting Saquon this week. It's like other teams, like if you were the Texans, you can shut them down. If you're, the Chiefs, you can give them a game off, but the Patriots kind of can't. So if he says he can go, then you play that guy. Can't hold anything back now. Full water boy mode.
Full water boy mode. I'm with you. You think Damion Harris is able to make it back?
Oh, I don't know if he's gonna be ready either. It could just be Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris and the boys out there. But
And you said you favor Pierre, right? Rest of the
I
season.
personally do, yeah, because I just side with the better athlete. Like the guy, if they're gonna split the carries, Pierre Strong runs a 4.37, legit like 98 percentile speed. Like if they're gonna split carries, I want the guy that has a chance to bust a touchdown at any moment. So give me the faster guy. Give me Strong.
Murphy here says Trey Lance started 5 games in 3 years, and Joey said, "How many more QBs does Trey need to learn behind before we can just move on?" That's kind of my point. Is like I don't think you can make the sit a year behind. You can't like use the Patrick Mahomes narrative here when he's going into his 4th year.
Well, to Tommy's point,
I know he's been injured, but
to Tommy's point, Tommy mentioned Joe Montana, right? He was the best ever. Steve Young did not do a goddamn thing until he was 30 years old. So I know that's like the one big time outlier example, but like Steve Young basically had one season his second year with Tampa Bay where he actually started. Beyond that, he didn't really play until he was 31, right? Like he basically got in at 30, and then at 31 he was the MVP of the league, right? So there is an example, but you can't really use that as the example.
Right.
More often,
it's only happened once. Yeah.
Right. More often than not, these guys just kind of wash away. But we haven't
Speaking
seen
of the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan said that he expects Debo to return in 3-ish weeks, quote. Whatever that means, 3-ish weeks. So is Debo Samuel another guy you guys are dropping? Are you comfortable dropping here? Because 3 weeks from now.
I'm not going to drop him. I'm just going to hide him in the corner of my bench. I'm just going to Harry Potter him away on the stairs so that no one
just
else
in case he comes back.
Just in case he comes back, and just to, if anything, so that my opponent can't pick him up and start him against me. That's the last thing I need, is to give anybody else in the playoffs any sort of thing they can use to beat me. Like I'd rather have Debo. I'd rather not start Debo and just have him on my bench and have him go off than allow the possibility of somebody else to get him. You should have enough bench spots where you can hide Debo in your bench.
And Debo's the kind of guy that can go off first week back from injury, whatever it is. So 3-ish weeks. That could mean 3, and he's back in that 3rd week, which is championship week. So
squirrel him away. Speaking of squirrels, I think we mentioned it briefly yesterday, but Cole Beasley back out of retirement.
That dude is a squirrel.
He truly is. That's the most.
I've never thought of him as a squirrel, but now that you say it, he's a squirrel.
But not like one of the. He's a squirrel on the college campus. Like they got a different attitude. Out. Yeah, they're wild out. They got no fear. They will stand there and mock you while eating an entire breadstick as large as their body, like 2 inches from
just
you.
Gobbling that breadstick.
Kind of chunky squirrels eating old cigarette butts.
I used to leave them breadsticks because I thought it was funny. I know you're not supposed to feed them breadsticks, but these squirrels would literally walk right up. Like they got no fear on college campuses. They're used to people, and they'll walk right up to you, and like you put the breadstick down, they're like, "Thank you very much." Scarf the whole thing down.
They get back to their den, and you go inside, and there's like a giant like statue of Simon they built out of nuts. Like, this is our god, the bringer of garlic bread.
Runabelle.
That's what squirrels sound like. Yeah, they're not gonna come for me whenever they take over the world. You guys have seen that episode of Rick and Morty, right? Where the squirrels,
yeah,
the squirrels take.
We got to disable the power in Panama.
So good.
It's a pretty good one. What's up, Joey? Welcome in here. Good morning. Glad to have you here. Some more positive news. player injury news. Kenneth Walker was a full participant at practice yesterday. So we got Kenneth Walker, full participant. That's good news. Should be back, ready to go. Full participant on Tuesday is a good sign, right? If we see that on Wednesday or Thursday, we're usually like, okay, cool. They're back at it. Tuesday, he's going to be ready to go unless he re-aggravates something.
Let's go.
And Tommy says, Squirrel Nut God, Simon. That is what they call me, the Squirrel Nut God. I remember in the 5th grade, I had a karaoke party after 5th grade graduation where I invited the whole class and some teachers. My dad built a stage in the garage. This is related. Built a stage in the garage, and one of the kids was running through the book, and my dad's like a big music guy. So he had so many karaoke songs for us, like went over and above every song you could think of, including multiple selections from the band called Squirrel Nut Zippers that he put on a sheet for a bunch of 5th graders, like they weren't going to find Squirrel Nut Zippers in the 200-page karaoke songbook, and then refused to say anything else for the next 2 weeks. Just over and over and over again. That became part of my like most heard words the summer after 5th grade because my dad put it in the karaoke book.
Was it
I don't
like?
I don't even know what kind of music it is.
You guys just like the name?
Yeah. Yeah. We sang things like What a Girl Wants and Smash Mouth and all that stuff.
And
we didn't
What a
sing
Girl
Squirrel
Wants.
Nut Zippers.
Smash Mouth is still pretty elite for karaoke, I will say.
Yeah, it's a karaoke classic out there.
But you can't be doing All-Star. You got to do Walking on the Sun.
Nobody once told me that. Time.
I rewatched Shrek the other night for the first time
in
forever. It's so good. Shrek is a top tier movie. It's just absolutely hilarious.
The gingerbread man scene is an all-timer, bro. Not my gumdrop buttons.
I'm a big
who
fan
lives
of
on,
every
who lives
scene
on
that,
Drury Lane like that.
I like every
so
scene
good,
that
dude.
Lord Farquaad is in. Lord Farquaad is my favorite character in the Shrek movie. He's so good.
Farquaad crushes that gingerbread.
Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Like, what a great line for an awful, disconnected king. It's the bomb.
So good, dude.
Guys, coming up. Oh, what's up, JL?
The middle school, like rival middle school to mine, was named like Farquhar or something like that. And we'd always make that joke of just like making jokes about Lord Farquaad. Farquaad, I think is what we called it in middle school. Pretty clever.
Pretty smart stuff.
Yeah.
You know, middle schoolers, it's simple,
Top
but
rope.
it's effective.
With the
stuff
part.
they come up
they
with.
hated it. Because we went to Rosa Parks, so you couldn't say anything.
Yeah,
That's right, dude.
You're right. What are they gonna do? Like they're gonna make you can't make puns with that name.
Because
You're gonna be on the news.
Park's name. Yeah,
it all gets too racist, dude. And you're tempted, of course, to start talking about the back of the bus, but you cannot.
No.
Unacceptable.
No, you literally couldn't. That would be a problem. At my high school, it got pretty heated between our rival where we started putting out like and by we, not me, I was not involved in this, but the schools would put out like diss tracks ahead of the games and then just circulate them around the schools with like CDs. You would start seeing like McEachern diss track on the ground, and like people were getting in big trouble if they were passing them out on campus and stuff like that. It was fun. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some Fantasy Detective, and we've got another entry into Dear Diary, some things that we learned. We got some more to tell our diary at this point in the season now that we're headed into playoffs. We're going to play some hypothetically a bit later, and then our friend Trey Daddy is joining us for our video game character lineup draft. We are going to be putting together football teams with video game characters, drafting them, and Alex, the Trey Daddy, is going to join us for that. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards. There was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he'd finished with. So, no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey. And it's a shame, though, that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing, too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that, all those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man.
Yeah.
So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 30 when he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Wait.
Hey,
Wait.
I thought for sure you were going to come in with an oi, Coop. I was waiting for it. You had this look on your face like, oh, the most powerful oi you've ever heard is about to come out of my mouth. And then
I dropped a very quiet A.
and I think Keith had you muted whenever you dropped a little quiet A.
Keith, how dare you?
No. Eddie in the chat letting us know Devil Went Down to Georgia was his karaoke song. That's a good karaoke song. And Murph saying Champagne Supernova by Oasis. I don't know that one.
What, dude? Champagne Supernova.
You don't know
Do I
that
know
song?
it? Do I know it? I just don't-
You will find
You know that song.
Oh, I know that song.
Champagne Supernova.
Oh, I don't know it. I was about to jump in and I was going to say
Champagne.
Somewhere in the Distance. That's a different song.
Nah, dude, that's not it. I think that's the best Oasis song, better than Wonderwall. Don't at me. Do not.
Wow. You're going to go against the Wonderwall hive mind out there, Coop. You're a brave man.
Fact, dude. It's fact.
What's your karaoke song, Coop?
I've done a number of different ones. I like doing that Eve 6 song. It's like, I would swallow my pride, I would choke on the rhymes, but I like their within me empty inside. Swallow that.
I know that song.
Yeah, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith. No, you know that
That's
one?
a good one.
Get pretty hype. Get pretty hype with that one. Yeah, that's a banger, dude.
John Luke, you got one?
I haven't done karaoke in a very long time.
I'm more of a rock band guy. I know quite a few rock. The thing is,
rock band. I guess rock band is karaoke. So
rock band songs end up getting overplayed at karaoke though, because everyone like knows them from rock band. I've noticed that in the karaoke sessions I've been to.
Ocean Avenue, probably. That one's an easy one.
That's a good one. Have you guys been to one of the Korean karaoke restaurants where you get the private room and they like bring you food and drinks in there and it's just you and all your friends in like a room and they've got like disco lights and all this crazy stuff and the machine's all entirely in Korean. So every time you need to find a song, you either need to bring someone who speaks Korean with you or call in the person to help you find the song every single time. But it is so much fun.
That's cheating though. You have to be in a room full of strangers.
Oh, my sister, who was definitely of age at the time, and it wasn't her first time going out with me as her older brother in Nashville, Tennessee. We went out when my parents went to bed because we were on like a family trip and everyone goes to bed at like 9 p.m. And we looked at each other. We were in college and we were like, oh, we're not going to bed, right? Like this was the first time where I was like, my sister is like an adult now. Know what I mean? Like,
Right.
let's go out. And so we went to this karaoke bar, and when we walked in, it was empty. There was like 8 people in the room. And so we signed up, put our name on the list. And then by the time they called me up on stage, there wasn't room to take a step in this karaoke bar, completely full. And I was like, oh dear God. And I got up there and freaking killed some Miley Cyrus.
Yes.
And then right after me, I was very clearly the opening act, because my sister, who I knew as shy and quiet, gets up on stage and
Rebecca
freaking works the crowd.
Yeah.
She's singing Since You've Been Gone, and she's got the mic and she's running down the stage, giving high fives during the chorus and like throwing the microphone out there, then coming back. Like I was ready for her to stage dive off the stage.
Doing knee slides across the stage.
Oh my God. She was, I was like, who are you? And then she went into the bathroom and threw up grease balls from the vodka crayons and the hamburgers we've been eating earlier.
I mean, at the expo, the FF Expo, that's always the big karaoke night. And dude, Britt Flynn,
oh my God,
crushed. She's a legit good singer. But my 2 favorites were Britt Flynn, crushed, and then Fade Duchesne's gets up there and he did that Slipknot song. I was like, we were like, dude, you can't be doing Slipknot. Like, he proved us wrong. He crushed that song, man.
I love some karaoke. I love people who are good at it. Guys, we are going to get into our next game. If you've got questions for us, fantasy questions, other questions, throw them in the chat. We are more than happy to answer anything and everything for you. Maria has one for us. Says, can you recreate it for us?
The Slipknot one?
Boo.
Oh, that's yours.
I cannot recreate it.
That Slipknot song he picked was like, I push my fingers into my eyes. Like it was like a full-on Slipknot song, dude.
You guys ready to get into some fantasy detective?
Oh yeah.
How this is going to work, if you haven't played with us before, is we've got a series of clues that are going to reveal information about a player. I'm going to reveal the clues one at a time. I'll tell you who's going first that round. You're going to get a chance to guess who you think the player is based on the clue. Get it right, you're going to earn points based on how many clues I've given out. The last clue will be worth 1. It'll go up from there based on how early in it you guess it correct. Whoever has the most points at the end is our fantasy detective champion.
Let's go.
Also, Maria said, I want to hear Simon's. No offense, Coop. No
you don't want to hear my cover of Fade Duchesne's version of Slipknot, Duality?
My go-to song is Let It Go from Frozen. It's always a crowd pleaser. Everyone loves it. And one time when I sang it at a bar, also in Nashville, but a different bar, whenever I said, and it looks like I'm the queen, some guy from the back of the bar shouted, yeah, you are. And I have never felt more confident in my entire life than in that one moment. Like I carry that. I lay in bed and I think about like, you are the queen. Like, hell yeah, you're the queen.
You are the queen, dude.
Here is our first hypothetically. JL, you're going to have the first guess on this one. You ready?
Yep.
Fantasy detective, not hypothetically, right?
Yeah. Fantasy
Just
detective.
double check because I'll have to change out of my detective hat.
Yeah, that's what we said. That's a nice detective hat. What's on the front of that, Coop?
This hat is Great Notion Brewery. It's a lumberjack. It's a brewery in Portland,
Maine.
Oregon.
Ah, wrong Portland.
Maine is a good guess because it's out this way, but no, it's out that way.
Portland, Maine is cool. I've looked at it on Google Maps a bunch of times.
Portland, Maine, both places, Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon, are like the probably the 2 best brewery cities in the world, dude. Like,
what I know about Portland, Oregon is that they have a vegan vampire themed strip club, Portland, Oregon. That's a thing that exists there.
I would not doubt it. Based on my time in Portland, I would be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
While I was out there, I was only out there for like 4 days. 2 different times, 2 different occasions. There was like a random bike parade of like just crazy bikes that came down the street. Like 6 people on one tandem bike. One dude was on a bike that was, no joke, 15 feet tall. Like, guys riding like little bikes, like just, and they're all wearing shirts say like,
you were there for the annual bike parade weekend, Coop.
It was like the first day, like people dressed as like clowns and stuff. The first day I was like, oh, that's weird. And then 2 days later, I was like, dude, it's the bikes again. But it's like a bunch of different people doing it, like different bikes. It's just, I don't know. Portland is a weird place, I will say.
We had a question come in here before we get into that first round of hypothetically. Jeff in the chat wanted to know, would you play Goff or Watson this week? So Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions going up against the New York Jets, a tough matchup. Deshaun Watson going up against the Baltimore Ravens, hasn't looked so hot in his first couple starts back. John Luke, you rolling with Deshaun or you rolling with Jared Goff?
I'm going to roll with Goff this week. Goff's got the Jets, which is it's a tough matchup, but he has been playing very well. I think they're going to figure out a way to get Goff involved here and have a good game. Deshaun Watson playing against Baltimore. Baltimore's defense has been pretty decent.
I'm rolling Goff out there. Based on what we've seen the past 2 weeks from each of these quarterbacks, I got to start Jared Goff. The matchup's a little bit scary, but you roll him out there anyways.
Agreed. And this Ravens game is supposed to be just like the other Ravens games. Over-under's like 38 points, you know? And it's like 38 points, and the Cleveland's favored by 2.5. So it's just supposed to be a low-scoring game.
Gross.
Don't
Brandon
like
in here had a question for us. Said, I picked up Elijah Moore, but worry Davis comes back this week. Chark is still available, but thoughts on using him against the Jets? Does Sauce cover Amon-Ra? Full PPR. So the question is, would you start Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, or DJ Chark over Marquise Hollywood-Brown this week with Colt McCoy coming in? Coop, would you start Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, or DJ Chark over Marquise Hollywood-Brown?
I'm kind of feeling the Charknado, man. Like it's been Chark week lately. Back-to-back games with 90 yards. He scored a touchdown this week. I'm kind of in on Chark right now. He's playing the full snap share. Even if Jamison Williams picks up more snaps, they're not going to come at the expense of DJ Chark. They're going to come at the expense of guys like Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond. So I'm in on Chark right now.
Over Hollywood this coming week. You'd throw him in there?
I think so, yeah. Hollywood looked terrible this week.
I think I'm still rolling Hollywood. Even though he's going against Denver. It's a pretty tough matchup.
Yeah, it's not the world's easiest matchup. Man, I'm close. You're not worried about Chark getting shut down by Sauce? You think there's a chance that Sauce is on that position?
It's possible, man, but Hollywood is such a low ADOT. Like in full PPR, he's a decent player, but like he's such a low ADOT guy that he needed 17 targets to crack 100 yards. Like he doesn't even have another 90-yard game this year. Last couple of games, even with 9, 8, and 8 target. So look at these games, 10, 9, 8, 8 targets, 78 yards, 68 yards, 46 yards, 34 yards. I don't know, man. It just seems like a low upside play to me. But he plays every snap, and I usually like Marquise Brown. I'm just in on Chark right now.
I hear you. I think I'm still rolling Marquise Brown out there, but it's close. Murph's saying pick up Chark as his last 2 games are legit fire starts, plus Colt McCoy is not great. I get it. I just feel like the floor is so much safer with Hollywood, and he still has that upside, right? It's not like devoid of upside. I understand what you're saying with the low ADOT, but man, I still think I'm rolling out Hollywood.
Yeah.
Still think I'm rolling Hollywood out there.
If their starting quarterback was playing, it'd be a little bit easier to do something like that.
100%. Let's jump into this first round of Fantasy Detective. John Luke, you've got the first guess, and here is your first clue. In 2019, this player said he eats 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day.
Every day?
Every single day?
Every day.
In what year?
In 2019, this player said he eats 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day.
3 years ago. Lamar Jackson.
It is not Lamar Jackson. Good guess. Coop, where are you rolling?
Is it DK Metcalf?
It is not DK Metcalf. And guys, play along. Throw your guesses in the chat. If you're right, I'm not going to tell you right away, but I'll shout you out at the end if you got it right before the people on the
chat.
show.
I just realized I got to minimize the chat too. Yeah,
you're good.
I saw Tim's guess. Is it Tim's guess?
No, I'll go ahead and say that it is not Tim's guess.
Okay, good.
What's Tim's guess?
Zeke. Tim guessed
Yes,
Zeke, so everyone has the same footing right here since Coop
Who
saw it.
did Coop guess?
I guessed DK Metcalf, and I think what I'm thinking of is DK Metcalf once said that he eats like a pound of candy like every day, or he eats like a bag of. He straight up said he eats like a bag of candy every day.
Oh, he's living the
respect.
life. He's living the life. Don't keep it under your bed, DK. The rats will get to it. You gotta
Sustainable.
keep it somewhere safe. You need a rat-proof box for your candy. Here's your next clue, JL. You got first guess. When this player got engaged, their wedding registry included a $2,899 Wells leather sofa.
What?
Are you not up to date on your NFL player wedding registries, JL?
No, that's not information that I typically go find. How much was it?
$2,899 for the sofa on their registry.
I don't think that's crazy expensive. I mean, it is expensive.
But that feels weird for an NFL player to put a $3,000 sofa on their registry, right? Like, who's coming to their wedding that can afford that sofa more than they can?
Other NFL players.
You're right.
Other
You're right.
NFL players, yeah.
I forgot rich people have rich friends.
Yeah.
Gronk. He's not married.
It is not Gronk, and I think you're right. I think he's not married. Coop, what about you?
I don't know anything about registries, but I do know some guys that are married or not. Like Tyler Lockett's not married. Is it Von Miller?
It is not Von Miller. Here's your next clue. This quarterback has thrown for 20 touchdowns this season. 20 TDs this season.
Quarterback. Eating mad.
Patrick Mahomes?
It is not Patrick Mahomes. Coop, you got a guess?
Quarterback who's eating mad Peebs and Jeebs.
Don't say Peebs and Jeebs.
He's doing 2-a-days on the Peebs and Jeebs.
Sometimes the Jeebs lead to Peebs.
Sometimes, dude. Is it? Who's weird? Who's super weird?
Every time I find jelly in my fridge, I think it's rotten, and then I eat it anyways.
I've
never opened a jar of jelly that wasn't brand new and been confident that it wasn't rotten.
Is it Justin Herbert?
It is not Justin Herbert. Your last clue. We got one more clue. This quarterback wears the number 16 because Peyton Manning was his favorite player growing up.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is the correct answer, JL. We're going to add 1 point to your score. Shout out to
weirdo, dude.
I knew he got married. That's kind of funny that he put a $3,000 sofa on his registry now.
So much peanut butter and jelly.
JL, it's going to give you 1 point. And T-Law, 20 touchdowns. And he's looked pretty hot the past couple weeks out there. Quietly put together a very good season. I feel like this past weekend is one of the first weekends where people are noticing the season that he's put together, right? Where people are starting to say, oh, shoot, Trevor Lawrence has been good for fantasy this year.
QB8,
what do you think he gets drafted next year? Do you think he's a QB? Do you think he's a top 10 quarterback drafted next year? Top 5 quarterback drafted?
Nah,
I don't think he's top 5. I don't think he's having that type of season, but I do think that he will. I think he'll be in the top 10 for sure.
Let's do it real quick, boys. So let me rule a couple out quick. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts gonna go. Patrick Mahomes will go. Justin Herbert.
Yep.
So that's 4. Joe Burrow. Now Justin Fields probably because of the running. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, I would assume ahead of Trevor Lawrence as well.
So we're about 7 here.
And I think this is where you can start considering him with guys like Dak, with guys like Kyler. In this range, I think is where you can start considering Trevor Lawrence. Tua, I'm going to put above him as well. Yeah.
So I think JL's right. Probably just sneak inside that top 10.
Yeah.
Because we just said 8. Like if you say 2 is definite, then he's right in that range where you're looking at Dak, you're looking at those guys. And I think that's great value. You know what I mean? Next year might be a good wait on QB year.
Assuming Kyler Murray is healthy by the start of next season, are you guys taking Trevor Lawrence or Kyler Murray?
I haven't decided yet, but I think I think they're close enough where like that's going to be an off-season decision. Know what I mean? Where they're decision. They're in the same tier, so I got to make that decision.
What was the one we were saying yesterday a bunch?
I don't remember.
She.
Yeah, I see you, CMC. Like, and the thing is, there are a couple guys that the end of this season could really shift where they end up next year. Like, there's a very real possibility that Deshaun Watson could, flash 1 or 2 games of prime Deshaun Watson, and now we're like, okay, got to take that risk. But when I look at the list, though, I just don't see like with Trevor Lawrence. I can't see myself taking Kirk Cousins ahead of him. I can't see myself taking
Derek
Goff.
Oh no, he's way above them.
Geno, but I mean that's kind of the next group of guys after what we named. So it's a matter of whether you want to do like Deshaun, Dak, or that crew. You're not going to take Kenny Pickett.
The chat had some good guesses here. Kirk Cousins, Goff, Derek Carr, Baker from Maria. And Baker said, once you said 16, I knew it was Trevor. She also said a lot of times you get 20% off the things in your registry that people didn't get. So it's probably just a smart move on Trevor's part.
Do you have to prove you're getting married to make a registry? Can you fake the whole thing? Like, you got to show them, like,
here's the...
Like, if I print out a fake invitation and go to, like, Kohl's or Macy's, can I just, like, put a registry together and then wait for the 20% off?
They might pull the old show us the marriage certificate on you.
They might pull the whole invite us to the wedding on you.
Let's see that certificate.
They often do
Yeah.
that at Macy's. Yeah, they always demand on being invited. That's something you didn't know about weddings. In order to open a registry, you have to invite the entire staff of a store to your wedding. So if you've ever wondered what all those random people in Joanne Fabrics uniforms were at the last wedding you were at, it was because a crafter got married, and that's where their registry was.
Joanne Fabrics.
My wedding was pretty. It was Bed Bath and Beyond. You
had all the Beyonders in there.
They took it beyond. They took it
Adam
above.
Sandler was
They went above and beyond. Yeah, Adam Sandler was there.
Yo,
it was a New England wedding.
That was a Click joke.
Click is Adam Sandler's best movie.
It's a good movie.
Like, it is so good. It is underrated. If you sit here and can confidently say no, it's not, I don't think you've seen Click recently enough.
I've seen
it is good. Recently? I think you're sleeping on
I've seen Click plenty enough.
Close to Jack and Jill in terms of
his best movie is Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore is a great movie. I think Click is his best movie.
Oh no.
I think Click is a better movie. It's so good. I'm watching it today, right after I finish Nacho Libre again. I'm going over there and I'm watching Click. JL, you are up by 1 point right now in this one. And Jay said you've never watched Billy Madison.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like the trifecta of Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Waterboy, those are gonna be the top, no matter what. Click,
nah.
Click is fine. Click is fine. Thought it was fine.
Fine.
It's
a great movie.
That's chalk opinion, Goop.
Pretty emotional.
It's so good. It's so good. Click is not fine. That shows me you haven't seen it recently.
Tommy says Jack and Jill is better than Click.
Well, JL, I don't think is mad about that, right? You said it's up there with Jack and Jill.
Simon,
Jack
first of all,
trash.
First of all, say it recently.
That's good.
Like, Simon, right now, given your current film status, like, you don't have the luxury of watching movies twice. I don't want to hear about you watching a movie a second time until you've seen The Godfather. Okay.
Well, here's the cool thing. There's no rules. I can do whatever the hell I want when it comes to watching movies.
Joey, please tell him there are rules.
Yeah, the cool part is that there's no rules, and I can watch Nacho Libre 100 times. I can go watch Click 4 more times and just ignore that The Godfather even exists.
You can't watch Click twice until you've seen the Shawshank Redemption one.
No,
I believe that's in the Bible.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I'll just keep on disobeying. I think I've broken a couple other rules in there as well.
How dare you?
You guys ready for the next round?
Yep.
I'm tired of this Click slander. The next round, Coop, you've got the first guess here, and here's your first clue. This player originally played guard in Little League football.
Originally played guard. So I imagine he's no longer a guard. Is it Derrick Henry?
It is not Derrick Henry. John Luke, you got a guess?
Let's go with Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler is incorrect.
That would be wild. That would be wild.
I like the guess. Here's your next clue. This player's high school also produced Rob Gronkowski and Jason Taylor.
Powerhouse.
I knew somebody who used to be the hockey coach of Gronk when he was growing up.
The what coach?
The hockey coach. The hockey coach. Hockey.
Do you remember?
Hockey, I said.
With an age, damn it.
Do you remember where the school was and who the guard was for the football?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is where I don't even remember the guy that told me. I can like visualize him, but I just can't like put him in context.
This guy probably wasn't a guard by the time he got to high school. He was probably just Little League. Was it like Jameis Winston?
It is not Jameis Winston. Jail, you got a guess?
Guard in high school.
Remembering that hockey coach?
Guard in high school. Guard in
Little League is what it was. Guard in
Little League.
Little League.
Originally played guard in Little League, and then this player's high school also produced Rob Gronkowski and Jason Taylor.
Let's go with
he was a guard.
Josh Allen.
It's not Josh Allen. Here we go. Here's your next
Little
clue.
League was baseball.
This running back is averaging 5.2 yards per rush. Coop, what you got?
Ooh, over 5 yards a carry. Is it Miles Sanders?
That's what I was gonna say.
It is Miles Sanders. Yeah. Coop, that's going to give you 2 points because there was one more clue left. So Coop's got 2 points. JL has 1. And right before you said it, Coop, Murph came in the chat and said,
Murph, dude. Murph down.
Boss.
Shout out.
nice
Murph
job,
boss.
Murph.
Yeah.
Also, Jay coming in here saying Little League is baseball. That's so weird because I said Little League football, which I think would then make you think football.
Top
I'll
one.
fight you, Jay.
Miles Sanders has been on my mind because I was just checking my underdog teams, and for every team I drafted Miles Sanders on advanced to the next round.
All of them. Miles Sanders has been a
Miles
dog.
Sanders, because you could get him so cheap, and he's been an RB1, dude. It's like there's only been a couple guys. I'm like looking through some of the other teams. I was looking at the team where the guy won. So if you get the best team through the regular season in Best Ball Mania, you win $1 million. I actually just saved it, so I have it here. This was the team. This was the draft the kid had. I don't know who the hell he was drafting with, but so he took DeVante Adams, Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right, pretty good there.
Yikes.
This is where his draft really let him down, because you draft multiple quarterbacks in these leagues. They let him get in the 6th and 7th round back to back Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow.
Yikes.
So he got all those guys. Then he got 2 monster quarterbacks. Then he comes back and makes these 5 picks in a row. This is what it takes to win $1 million in underdog. Miles Sanders, Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker, Rashad White, Damian Pierce.
Boom.
Bingo,
Boom. That's
bango,
a
bongo.
0 RB team that worked out this year.
Yeah.
0 RB winning the $1 million. Oh,
I
man.
know, dude. Don't
Never
tell.
gonna hear the end of it. You're
don't tell
never
the-
gonna hear the end of it.
Don't tell the Twitter net. Don't
I'm
tell the
telling
internet. Don't tell
I'm
Kevin
messaging
Tompkins.
him right now. I'm telling Kevin
Can't.
Tompkins right now.
Don't tell him.
He'll be reasonable about it, as always. And Murphy, you're saying Miles Sanders is on my mind because I traded so much Joe Mixon for Miles Sanders and a wide receiver. It was wild. Could be a good move. Be a good move, Murph. Well, Coop, you've got the lead here. John Luke, we're going to move on to the next one, and you've got the first guess. You ready?
Yep.
This player was drafted 11 spots ahead of Brock Purdy.
Oh. Uh-oh. Test your knowledge of the 7th round of the NFL draft from this year.
I have no idea.
I sent you flashcards to memorize every pick. There was a couple hundred of them.
Couple hungy.
Don't say Hanji.
Couple
I
hundred.
can't even think of a rookie who is not
Dude,
who's in the 7th round. That's
think
not
about dude,
Brock.
Trevor Lawrence with the PB&J, dude. That means he eats like over 700 peeps and jeeps every year. 700 peeps.
How is this helping me?
I was just talking to Simon while you were thinking.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't know, man. Let's go with
I wonder what kind of jelly he likes. Do you think he switches up the jelly, or do you think it's the same jelly every sandwich?
Habanero
go with
hibiscus.
a Conquo.
Hibiscus jelly.
Okonkwo is incorrect, JL. Coop, you got a guess for us?
Ooh, kind of a great guess, brother.
When was he drafted?
I like the 4th round, but still cool guess.
Ah.
But still, I like that though. I like the tight end idea. Let's steal it. No, I'm gonna go with a running back.
I think he definitely
Zonovan,
has petroleum jelly
Zonovan
on
Knight. Is
sandwiches.
it Bam
That's
Knight?
gonna be my next one.
It is not Bam Knight, but
That's a
good,
good
guess.
guess. My goodness.
Bam
When was he
Knight.
drafted?
I don't know, 4th round. Just like
April.
just like Chig. In April,
Yeah,
that's correct.
In
Actually,
April.
no,
he
I think
was
the draft
drafted.
was May.
Nice.
That was April.
Usually April. I could have been wrong. I
Ooh,
was just trying
Producer
to spitball it.
Keefe, local Jets fan, producer Keefe saying Bam Knight wasn't drafted. Undrafted free agent. Wow.
There you go.
There we go.
Anyone.
Here's your next clue, though. He was heavily recruited by Syracuse, Maryland, and Virginia Tech in college, but decided on another school. Does that help you? Are you up to date on your where NFL players were recruited by?
No. It's me again, right?
Yes.
Let's go with Jalen Warren.
It is not Jalen Warren. What you got for me, Coop?
Is it dude, this is hard. Yes, he got all sorts of stuff. Talk about Trevor Lawrence while I'm thinking.
PB&J. Trevor Lawrence, PB&J. Yeah.
Man, the
That
kind of
is actually
jelly
makes it very hard to think.
Right?
Sorry
Joe,
about
what's your
that.
preferred jelly?
Welch is great.
Welch's grape, the classic.
Is
See,
it Cade
when-
Otton?
It is not Cade Otton. It is not. I like the little mini jelly conversations while people think in between here.
Yeah, it makes
Here
it really
is your-
difficult. I apologize to JL. It does make it difficult to think.
I don't know why. I just can't get my brain off PB&J
I
talk.
can't think about anything else.
Can't tune it out.
Here's your next clue. This running back has 3 fumbles on the season so far.
Very cool.
3 fumbles. 7th round, 3 fumbles. I'm gonna go with
Grape jelly.
Kyron Williams.
It is not Kyron Williams. Coop, you got a guess for me?
Yeah. Is it Keontae Ingram?
It is not Keontae Ingram. Here's your last clue. This player took over as the starting running back for their team this season. He took the starting job.
He stole it.
JL, what you got?
Rashad White.
It is not Rashad White.
He was 7th round.
Coop,
I got this. It is
some people like grape jelly. Some people like apple jelly. But the kind of jelly that I want in my belly is petroleum jelly.
it's starting. He starts at running back.
I sing a whole song for you, Coop.
Yeah, sing. Well, do a couple more verses real quick. Is it?
The only other verse of that song I remember is the legal disclaimer that the singer of that song then sang to us live on stage, telling us not to actually eat petroleum jelly and that he's no longer liable if anybody
Bonkers,
decides
man.
to because they did.
He was drafted this year.
He was. I gave you all the information. He was drafted 11 picks before Brock Purdy. So unless 11 picks before Brock Purdy was the previous year's draft, he was in fact drafted this year. So it was either the world's shortest draft.
Okay, it's Isaiah Pacheco.
It is Isaiah Pacheco, 100%. Coop, you got that one. 1 point for you on the very.
I should only
get
get a half point because of the amount of stalling I did.
Yeah, I'm tempted to give you a half. And since you requested it, we will do that. Murph in the chat got it after the very first.
Dude,
clue.
Murph is
came
on
in
fire.
immediately.
What?
Tim getting it a little bit later with Pacheco. Squirrel
Shut up.
Bob coming in with Pacheco
Tim.
as well. Nice
How
job,
Pacheco
guys,
was
getting that
7th
one.
round. That's
Tim doesn't
wild.
get any credit because Murph Dog scorching hot today,
The Murph dog.
scalding
Murph.
hot. Murph Dog.
JL, you're down by 1.5 points. It's 2.5 to 1 right now.
Yeah.
We
Anyone's
still got
game.
time to come back.
Oh,
we got
it's
time to
anyone's
come
game.
back. Coop, you're going to go first in this one. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's your first clue. While being recruited for colleges, this player was driven home through a snowstorm by Jim Harbaugh.
And he was wearing cleats.
And nothing else.
So I
Jim
wonder if
Harbaugh was
he,
wearing cleats and a
His
jock
jock
strap.
strap.
I wonder if he went to Michigan. Is it?
I can picture Jim Harbaugh in cleats and a jockstrap just so clearly. Like there's not any fuzziness to that picture in my head. It just seems so natural that when I picture
Off-white
Jim
jock
Harbaugh,
strap.
yes,
He just-
exactly. It's an old jockstrap.
it's very off-white.
Just
It's
speaking
elastic's
cliches.
a little the elastic's a little loose as well. It's like bunching up.
Oh, no.
Borderline yellow.
All right, give me Nico Collins.
It is not Nico Collins. JL, you got a guess for who Jim Harbaugh drove home in a snowstorm during his recruiting?
Let's go with no. Let's go with Damion Harris.
It is not Damion Harris. Here is your next clue. Many teams didn't believe this wide receiver would leave college after his junior year because of his interest in becoming a doctor.
Is it Dr. Donovan Peoples-Jones?
It is Donovan Peoples-Jones is absolutely correct, Coop. And you are going to get 2 points for that one, bringing you up to 4.5. So, JL, you still got a Hail Mary's chance. But did you know that about DPJ? You knew he wanted to be a doctor?
No, I just knew he went to Michigan. I've just been
Suspicious.
what? That I knew he went to Michigan?
That was what. Why didn't you guess that on the first one?
Because
Well, 'cause
Nico
he also
Collins,
knew Nico
Nico
Collins
Collins
went to
also went to
Michigan.
Michigan. I was just going through Michigan wide receivers.
We
Dr.
named two.
DPJ.
we did a category yesterday, aligned alma mater on Fantasy Jeopardy over on the Fantasy Football Game Show. And one of the questions, I just gave you players that went to a college, and you had to tell me what college it was. It was you. This would have given it away. Tom Brady, Nico Collins, and Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I
All
got
Michigan.
that question. And
You
I
did
got
get
wrong.
it. And you did get it wrong. That's
I
okay.
don't
I think you
remember
said I think you said like Saskatoon or something.
Wesleyan.
Wesleyan. That's what you said.
Prominent football school, Wesleyan.
Two of my best friends are Michigan fans. I don't know where like anybody went to college except for Michigan guys because they won't shut up about it. So
That sounds about right.
that just happened to be the right category for me. I'm not a big college football guy.
Tommy said DP and J.
DP and J, dude.
That and changes that a whole lot. Tommy, that and is doing a lot of work in that sentence. I think we need to remove it, give it a break. Albert gets DPJ as well.
Albert.
Nice job, Albert, getting that one. And
Albert got
Murph
it after me, though. I was first. Or
Murph,
was I?
and Frank the Tank got it as well with DPJ. Nice job, Frank. And
Dang.
Adam said DPJ was good on All or Nothing. Michigan was, as was Winovich. Good on All or Nothing out there. And also saying that sounds like my idea of hell being driven home by Jim Harbaugh. I can't believe he still went to Michigan after that. I would have just been like, I'll get me away from this man. I would go. Anywhere. I would be 0% surprised. Like if I was in Michigan, for some whatever reason, the state, and I ordered an Uber and Jim Harbaugh pulled up, like that would just check out. Know what I mean? Like if Harbaugh was just doing Uber in his spare time, it's like 1 a.m. He's like, yeah, I don't sleep anyways. Figured I would drive Uber at night.
You want a water bottle?
And he's sitting up there again, just in his jockstrap and cleats, driving Uber around.
You can hear every time he puts his foot on the pedal.
Scroll Bob in here said, unless the player went to Penn State, I have zero chance of guessing them by school.
I know.
Penn
I'm so
State,
bad at that.
too. I know Clemson.
It's hard.
I know Clemson pretty well. Also, the last clue for this one, we didn't read the last clue, but I'm going to read it to you. It was that Urban Meyer was shocked this player was drafted in the 6th round. So there was shock from Urban Meyer that this player went in the 6th round. Also, we're getting this from Keith, said supposedly when Urban Meyer found out Jim Harbaugh was driving them, Urban offered to go pick him up and drive him home instead of Jim Harbaugh driving him home.
Classic
That's pretty
move.
funny. You guys ready for the next one? Joe, you got some ground to make up. This is your last round here.
Let's go.
This player taught himself to play piano.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
It is not Juju Smith-Schuster. Coop, you got a guess for me?
That's a good guess. Taught himself to play piano. Would it be, I don't know, DJ Moore?
It is not DJ Moore. This player fell out of the first round of the draft because of a failed drug test, an old PCL injury, and a poor 40 time. Not JL.
Poor 40 time. Failed drug tests.
And an old PCL injury.
Uh,
And if I had to guess what kind of jelly he likes, he seems like an apple jelly kind of guy.
Ugh.
apple jelly.
That's just applesauce.
That is false. It's a
Yeah,
little more
it's false.
gelatinous. But
Let's go.
applesauce, top tier. One of the best foods ever invented.
I like applesauce with pork chops. You dip a little pork chop in the
Pork
applesauce.
chops and applesauce.
Let's go
You
with.
guys-
I don't think you'd pick this guy though. Let's go with. I don't remember where he was. Amari Cooper.
It is not Amari Cooper. Coop, you got a guess?
Failed drug test was throwing me off, dude. I can't remember a lot of specific failed drug tests. But I'm trying to think of second round picks. DeVante Williams, the second round pick.
It is not Javonte Williams. Here is your next clue. This player didn't play a single snap in his first NFL game, which caused him to think about quitting the NFL to return to college, but was able to get on the field after a Malcolm Floyd injury.
Malcolm Floyd.
What you got, JL?
Rashard Higgins.
It is not Rashad Higgins.
Rashard Higgins.
Coop,
He failed the drug test.
Malcolm Floyd. I know two teams he played for, but is it Keenan Allen?
It is Keenan Allen is the correct answer. Keenan Allen is correct.
Big
That's going to
day
get you
today.
one more point, and you're going to be the winner of this game. We had
Yeah.
some guesses in the chat. Murph guessed Darius Geis. We had Josh Gordon. We had Austin Eckler.
Ooh,
None
Darius
of those
Geis.
correct.
That's
So
a good guess.
guesses. Good guesses.
Yeah.
Also,
Keenan
Tommy
Allen. 'Cause
said,
I knew Malcolm Floyd played for the Chargers, and I think he also played for the Cardinals.
got you there. That was our game. Coop, you are the winner of Fantasy Detective today. Though I think Murph might be the real winner in the chat. He was absolutely
Murph crushed,
killing
bro.
it.
Oh yeah.
Murph Dog scalding. Actually, Malcolm Floyd played his whole career for the Chargers. I'm thinking Michael Floyd. Oopsies.
Different Floyd.
Oopsie doodles. Different
Still
M
the right
Floyd.
answer, though. Coop, I asked JL, but I didn't ask you. Very important question. What is your go-to jelly?
So I'm a raspberry guy, and I think it's actually a jam that I like. It comes in like this little container with a red and white plaid cap.
I know what
You
you're
know what
talking
I'm
about.
talking
I
about?
got you. Mhm.
I think it might be a raspberry. It might be a raspberry preserve, dude. I might be a preserve guy. I'll have to take a
Maybe
little
it's a
peek.
marmalade.
Dude, could be a marm, bro. I gotta take a peek in the fridge, take a little peek, see what kind of peas and jeeps I've been eating. But it's definitely raspberry.
When I put jelly on the grocery list, if I'm not the one shopping, like if it's my girlfriend's turn to go to the grocery store, I have to write normal jelly, or she'll come home with some like the craziest thing you've ever heard of, like spicy cherry mint jelly or something.
Spicy cherry mint jelly.
Spicy cherry mint.
This is the picture of Jerry on the front.
Just a guy, and it's not Jerry Seinfeld or anybody particularly famous. It's just Jerry. It's just Jerry. Tommy's saying jalapeno cherry, like exactly. So, and I'm like, no, I just want like strawberry, or grape, just one of those two. Hell, you can get crazy, and I'm fine with apple. Like that. That's fine if you want to go really weird. But
It's raspberry. It's raspberry jam that I like. Smucker's raspberry jam for anyone that wants to know.
Lucius in here had a question for us with the super chat. Thank you so much, Lucius. We appreciate you.
Lucius.
They wanted to know, what's your take on Brandon Ayuk without Deebo Samuel? So Deebo going to be out the next couple of weeks. Brock Purdy still starting at quarterback. JL, what's your take on Brandon Ayuk with Deebo out?
Wheels up, man. Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers have a very easy schedule going forward rest of the season for the fantasy playoffs. Brandon Ayuk looked fantastic. He's now the guy there with Deebo being injured. Brock Purdy's looked good, so wheels up.
Now, the real question is, do you think Brock Purdy's a liar? Because Brock Purdy promised me, and he promised JL, and he promised Simon, and most importantly, he promised Brandon Ayuk that he would get him the football. So, are you calling Brock Purdy a liar, or are you in on Brandon Ayuk?
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here, because he said, I'm going to feed you. He didn't say I'm going to feed you targets. He may have meant touchdowns, in which he did feed him a touchdown this past week.
Maybe he meant 2 PB&Js a day.
Maybe he meant 2 PB&Js a day. Yeah, maybe what we're not seeing is Brock Purdy in the locker room after practice feeding Brandon Ayuk applesauce and PB&J.
I mean, could be it. In that case, he would have fooled us all, because I don't know if that's going to be great for fantasy football.
Nah, Brandon Ayuk this past week, saw 3 targets in the win against Tampa Bay. They also blew them out in that game, like absolutely blew out Tampa Bay. So that's going to affect weird game scripts. They got Seattle this week. I expect that to be a closer game. And Brandon Ayuk's the wide receiver 1 for that team.
Mm-hmm.
Wheels up. Get him in your lineups. Start him. Get him in there.
The question is, are we trying to get sneaky with Juwan Jennings anywhere, or is it just probably going to be Ayuk and Kittle?
I think if you still had Jimmy G in there, we could get a little cute with some Juwan Jennings, but with a rookie quarterback drafted in the 7th round and his second career start, I'm not getting cute with the secondary or tertiary receiving option in Juwan Jennings.
I think he's worth a pickup. That high-powered offense, he's now the second receiving option there. He's worth a pickup.
I mean, so he did. I thought he would just take over the snaps, but it looks like Ray McLeod played some snaps. That's kind of
Shout out Ray. McLeod with a chance of meatballs. We're getting meatballs this weekend.
I didn't dislike the 49ers uniform so much. I would totally get a Ray McLeod.
Fox McLeod.
They don't sell it, but if they did.
I'm with JL. Deep leagues, Juwan, worth a little sneak and peek, right? Just to see if he can play full snap share.
Albert in here had another question for us. So do you guys trust Kenneth Walker this week? My other option is Rachaad White. The fact that he was a full participant at practice on Tuesday makes me say, yes, I trust him. I'm playing him. I'm plugging Kenneth Walker in.
Well, yeah. The only reason we didn't like Rachaad White last week was because the matchup, though, for the most part. Like, I was fading Rachaad White, but it's not that I don't like Rachaad White. So let's see what Rachaad White's got going on. He's got the Bengals.
So better matchup for Rachaad White, but he's also splitting carries back there with Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I'll take the. But Kenneth Walker gets the 49ers.
Tough matchup. Really tough matchup.
JL, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, I'm confident playing him if he continues to practice and there's no other setback news. Let's go, Ken Walker!
Yes. All right, you convinced me. You convinced me.
It was the slow chant, wasn't it?
It was.
I knew it. That's the secret to getting Kupp to buy into anything.
Sucker for a slow chant or one good. Come on. Kenneth Walker, come on. I'm like, all right. If the boys are doing it, I'm doing it.
An Illmind Jedi in here says, who's better, Mr. Unlimited or Mr. Irrelevant? Let's be real. It's Russell Wilson's the better quarterback. He's the better quarterback, but right now, man, would you guys start Brock Purdy or Russell Wilson at quarterback?
Is Russell Wilson even going to play?
Teams? He
got a concussion.
Purdy.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's Purdy, but I'm not going to say that he's better than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's, I think, a great quarterback. He's just been hiding somewhere.
Speaking of terrible games, that game this week is supposed to be so bad. They're playing the Cardinals and Colt McCoy. So
yikes!
Over under for that.
Yeah, is that prime time?
No, 4:00 on Sunday.
Oh damn! I wish we were all watching that one together alone on an island game.
That would be amazing. It's the over right. So they didn't open with an over under because we didn't know if Kyler was going to be hurt or not. But once they ruled Kyler out, the over under opened at 36.5 points.
Yikes! That's disgusting. There's one more question in here from Eric. Eric said having a hard time deciding which 3 to flex in PPR. Got Paris Campbell, Jerick McKinnon, David Montgomery, Cordero Patterson, Jameson Williams, and Elijah Moore. Or is that Javonte Williams?
Or is it
Jamal
Williams?
Or Jamal Williams. Is that Jamal Williams?
Yeah, which Jay Williams is that? That's important.
Yeah.
But is there anyone?
Assume Jamal Williams, I think, based on the other names around it. Yeah.
I'll tell you right away, out of this group, I'm definitely starting David Montgomery.
100%.
So
David Montgomery's in there. And then if that's Jamal Williams, I'm going Jamal Williams as my second guy from that list.
I would just take Patterson out and honestly McKinnon too.
Yeah.
Or did I say McKinnon? I meant Campbell.
Take Campbell out. If Corey Davis is out, if Corey Davis is out, I'm interested in Elijah Moore. If Corey Davis is playing, then I'm probably just gonna start McKinnon. But I think I like Monty, Jamal, and Elijah Moore if Corey Davis is out.
It's the 3 backs for me outside of Patterson. It's going to be Montgomery, Williams, and McKinnon. I'll start all 3 of those guys.
Even with no Corey Davis, Elijah Moore looked pretty good this week.
With no Corey Davis, I think you can plug Elijah Moore in there instead of McKinnon, but I'll roll with the safety of McKinnon.
I think I'd still roll McKinnon PPR.
We got McKinnon, but we're all agreeing on Montgomery and Williams. Kupp going Elijah Moore. Jalen and I going with Jerick McKinnon over there as the 3rd one. Guys, coming up, we are going to make some entries into our diary. It's time for Dear Diary, and then we're going to play some Hypothetically. And our friend Alex, a.k.a. the Trade Daddy, is joining us for the video game character draft, where we're building out a lineup, quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends, all from video game characters. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, But overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach. Makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting, I'm going to bring up personal.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know
again,
it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that?
Bro, they think that, you want to know why? They're paranoid. They think that's going to turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It is week 15, baby, and we got so much football this week. Tommy in the chat reminding us Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday NFL football. Add college football bowl games starting on top of that this week. It is football time, baby. There's nothing but football on. We're getting games every day.
Love it. Never not football.
Now we just need Friday. Covered. But now, as we enter our fantasy football playoffs this week, everybody getting in there, I think it's time to look back and maybe reflect a little bit on what happened this season. It's time for some more entries into our diary, in the segment we call Dear Diary, where we write our little journal entries, things that we've learned, things that we need to make note of, things that we want to remember next year, things that just made us feel a certain way during the season. I'm going to jump in there first, if you guys don't mind, because I've got one that it was relevant to a question that we just got before the break that Albert asked about starting Kenneth Walker. And what I wanted to say to myself, Dear Diary, not all injuries are created equal. Whenever looking at starting a player after their first game back, not all injuries are created equal. You need to pay attention to the things going around. A steadfast rule, I don't start players when they come back from injury, is going to hurt you. But a steadfast rule, I always start players whenever they come back, is also going to hurt you. Pay attention to what's going on around them. Look at the practice reports. Look for those full participation at practice reports. If you start seeing those on Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a great sign. If they're a limited participant Thursday and Friday, game time decision, and then come out on Sunday where they're deciding, that's a different case than the player who was cleared on Tuesday and is ready to go. Not all injuries are created equal. And pay attention to what's happening before a player's first game back, because you're going to see big changes in how it affects the outcome of your fantasy leagues.
Amen, brother. And to tack on to that, a part of that injuries created equals aren't created equal mantra is something that I kind of picked up on a bit this year, is that with lower body versus upper body injuries, you have to consider conditioning, because we've actually seen coaches come out and say, oh, well, this guy's not ready to play a full snap share. He had a foot injury, so he wasn't able to run. Meanwhile, Daniel Bellinger, he hurt his eye. When he was ready to play, he played 64 or 66 snaps because he was able to run. He was able to get his conditioning up. He just had double vision. So I've been thinking about that a lot, Simon, where it's like, think about what the injury is. Is this person ready to play 70 snaps in a football game? Do they have a shoulder, like Dallas Goedert has a shoulder injury? I think his conditioning is probably fine, right? He's probably still running, doing a bunch of stuff versus a guy who was in a cast on their foot. So something to think about there.
Right. Josh Jacobs' pinky that he hurt in the last game.
Pinky.
As long as the pinky's okay and he can hold the ball, his conditioning should be fine. That's not going to stop you from running on a treadmill, getting all your conditioning work in.
But a hammy, that'll stop you.
But
the-
a hammy will stop you right up.
You go on the IR with a hammy and they don't activate you right away, because that's the big thing, is that sometimes these guys are ready to go, they get activated right away. That's a huge red flag for me, because if you go on the IR with a hammy and then they don't activate you the first game you're eligible, that means 5 weeks now you haven't been able to run. That dude's not going to be ready to go to, to do play after play after play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one, Simon.
Just pay attention. Not all injuries are created equal. Diarrhea.
Dear diarrhea.
You had such a good one.
Damn it.
So
That's the-
Simon, that was so good up until you mentioned diarrhea. Like everything was just
Then
right.
it was great.
And then it was perfect. It was so good.
We are
and
now
then it was
changing
so
the name of the segment to Dear Diarrhea. Really.
It feels better.
I still don't know how to spell that word though.
Diarrhea. That's how you spell it. Diarrhea.
There we go. Nailed it.
very
I
good.
spell
Well-
that word a lot.
My next Dear Diary entry here. Dear Diary, I very much enjoyed our industry guillotine league this year, hosted by Paul Charchi. And I think next year I'm going to dip my toes in some new formats, new league formats. I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone a little bit more because I enjoyed it so much. Historically in the past, I'm just too busy to really be trying out all these new fancy formats everybody be coming up with. I don't want to do that. This year, I'm going to try some new ones.
Jail. I love that one. And I had like a similar realization this year. Like I love fantasy football, but entering a guillotine league for the first time kind of like reinvigorated like that excitement. Know what I mean? It was a different game, but it wasn't complex to make a new game. It was just unique in a different way of thinking. Know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes these leagues just get more and more complex, like tiered PPR and extra points for kickers and all that. And I'm like, I can't keep track of all that. Guillotine league, it's simple. Low score gets chopped every week. And it's been so much fun playing it. I'm with you, Jail. Is there a specific format that's like, I want to try that next year?
Not yet. No, there's nothing that is specific I'm targeting, but if I had gotten knocked out in the very beginning of the season, I would not have enjoyed it very much. The fact that I went decently far and then like could have gone farther made me just want to play more.
Yeah.
Scott Fish in here says, I could help you with that, JL. So listen, Scott, been asking you forever to hop in a league with me. Let's do it.
Dear Diarrhea.
Dear Diarrhea.
Make
Please
Scott
get
Fish
Scott
join
Fish
a
to
league with
invite
me.
me. Yeah, please get him to accept my invite.
One format that I've always wanted to play that Jail, I think this would be a fun one next year is the zombie league. Where like it's a 12-team league, 11 teams draft, and one team just puts their team together based on the waiver wire afterwards. But every time they beat a team, I believe they're able to steal a player from that team, or maybe this is a vampire league that I'm thinking of and I'm giving it the wrong name. But you get one team who doesn't draft, but whenever they beat a team, they can take whatever player from that team that they want onto their team. And so you get one team that clearly is the worst team in the league at the beginning from the waiver wire. But if they can put something together, which you can, and pull a W out, then they steal Jonathan Taylor. Then they steal Travis Kelce.
And I'm big into like game mechanics, so I feel like this is why this stuff appeals to me. It's like it's fun to think about the mechanics of it.
I was thinking about it's not revolutionary or anything, but I was thinking about an idea for the Scott Fish Bowl recently. And it's kind of tough. I'm not sure if people would love it, but you guys ever watch Survivor?
Yeah.
No.
So at one point they had this thing called Redemption Island where you could get voted out and you go to this island and you like do battle and you could come back. I was wondering if there's any way to do that in the Scott Fish Bowl, like add a mechanic like that. Nothing too crazy, but just like say playoff start, the cut lines here, all these teams normally would just be completely out, right? And then, hundreds of teams are in the playoffs. What if there was something where, that first week, and it doesn't matter what your record was before, it doesn't matter anything before. If you were like of the teams that got eliminated, the top 10 scoring teams, those teams just get tossed right back into the playoffs. You get one if you can score, if you can put together a good week that week, you get one more chance. You get thrown right back in the pool. Like that would keep every single person in the tournament paying attention for one more week. Even if only 10 people is like of the people eliminated is less than 1%. It's such a huge league that it might even be less than 1%. But you have that little sliver of hope that maybe you get picked off Redemption Island and you're back in it. That would be wild. Like a tiny little, just a little wrinkle like that. 10 teams go back in, or 5 teams. That would keep everyone playing for one more week.
Be
Yeah.
interesting.
It would keep everyone involved.
If I got thrown
do-
back into Scott Fishbowl, I would immediately lose again.
Yeah.
Like my team is just so bad at this point.
Ooh, Scott says SFB used to have that. That's wild.
Really?
Dude. What year was that, Scott? Because I've been in for the last couple of years. Well, I know it's been going on for quite some time. Second chance tourney. Ooh,
Like that.
So it's not
That
a
would be fun.
not a revolutionary idea at all.
Ooh, what was the other one that we mentioned earlier? Using the OG rules, right? Like you
yeah,
told the
for
story
the-
about how fantasy football was created. Let's use the
Yeah.
OG rules to run a league next year because
Yeah.
they were wild.
Damn it.
They
It's
were
like
wild.
25 points for a field goal
They were terrible. Yeah, they were awful.
for an extra point.
Yeah, touchdowns were 100, right? It was like something crazy.
I think touchdowns were 25 too. Everything was 25.
Yeah, there were no. You know what it was? Everything was 25, but return touchdowns, like kick return touchdowns, were 100, right?
Something like that.
It
I
was
can
like
look
punt,
it up.
Yeah, punt return, kick return touchdowns just like ruined the week.
That's wild. Coop, you got something you need to tell your diary?
My diarrhea, dear diarrhea. And this one,
That's 100% the new name of the segment, guys. I'm
Yes.
not even joking. That's what we're going to call it from now on.
dear diarrhea. We did something this year that we've been hesitant to do in the past, and it's something that's very difficult, right? One thing that I've encouraged people to do is lean into uncertainty, which is, you look at a team like the Jaguars, you don't know which player is going to be the one that leads the team, right? It was up in the air. Christian Kirk hadn't been there. Zay Jones hadn't been there. Evan Engram hadn't been there. Marvin Jones was a possibility. So you lean into that uncertainty, drafting one of those guys. But in the past, what I've done is I get too locked on the guy I think it's going to be. So even though I say lean into uncertainty, I tell myself it's going to be Evan Engram or it's going to be Christian Kirk. And this year, I'm making a note to myself in my diary that that's not where the lean into uncertainty game ends. For me this year, for the first time in maybe forever, even though I was pretty locked into Evan Engram, I sat there and I said to myself, look, maybe we were wrong. Maybe Zay Jones was the guy. And I actually did add Zay Jones in a couple of leagues, and he's helped me out. So moving forward, I'm making a note in my diary that, of course, in the later rounds in drafts, you want to lean into uncertainty, see if you can catch lightning in a bottle. Look at these teams where, it's not just Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. It could be anybody. But don't be afraid to pivot once the season actually starts. That's the thing that I wasn't doing in the past. I was too set in my ways. I was too scared to pivot. Writing it down in the diary now. Do not be afraid to pivot early off of what you believe, especially in those situations where it was uncertain to begin with. You were just taking a stab, and you shouldn't get too attached to this random stab you're taking in like the 11th round.
Yeah, it's belief.
Right. The belief, right? Don't get too locked up in the belief.
Yeah, I like that a lot, Goop. I think a lot of people tend to not realize where their beliefs come from, right? They'll hear other people say things and that checks out in their mind. So subconsciously they lock that in as like a belief they have. And you're right. A lot of times it's a mistake. It's overconfidence.
It doesn't mean you have to drop Evan Engram either, but don't ignore the Zay Jones.
Yeah. Recognize this is a probabilistic game.
Yeah. And there's a difference between if you draft someone in the 5th round and they're underperforming at the beginning, and if you draft someone in the 11th round. Know what I mean? Look at your analysis. What led you to that point? Are the things that made you draft that player still true? Know what I mean? Because, Coop, I think that's what you're talking about. Like the uncertainty, there's not a lot of those pieces that are true that make you draft this player. It's things that might be true. For players that you drafted earlier, don't give up on them after a bad week or two, as long as the reasons why you drafted them are still true. Know what I mean? Are they still the lead back in their offense? Are they still the main target in their offense? Are they still running the routes you expected them to? Then hold on. You're okay. But I'm with you, Coop. That's a great point, because I think we get married to our sleepers. Know what I mean? Like we have these sleepers that we fall in love with, that you leave every draft with. You're like, no, this is my guy. I'm drafting this guy at the end of every draft. And then you don't want to drop him because it's a matter of time. You got him everywhere. You want to hold on and make it happen. Meanwhile, some dude that you didn't expect blows up in week 1, and maybe you should pivot and try to grab
James
that guy off the
Robinson.
waiver wire. James Robinson. Jimmy. Scott Fish said in 2017 to 2019, we had it as well, but they didn't get back in. They won a Football Guys lifetime subscription.
Still pretty
deal.
good.
I could live with that as a consolation prize. That's a pretty damn good consolation prize. Lifetime,
right, dude.
Shout out Football Guys.
Most of us are just sitting here, reading, Dave Kluge's 3 up, 3 down. We only get the up, dude. The rest is behind the paywall. You're in there behind the paywall getting those other players. Can't
All
beat
those
that.
tools.
All those tools, dude. Can't beat
man.
that.
What
dude.
if supposedly if you live to the year 2040, you'll live forever because that's the year of the singularity. You've heard that theory, right? That's the
I
year
didn't
the
know
technology.
2040 was the year.
There's a futurist, a guy who has made his living filing patents off of technology that hasn't been created yet, but doing it within a time frame of which he thinks it's going to be created, so that he then owns the patent for applied uses of that technology once the tech is created. And he believes, this futurist, this guy who predicts technology, I forget his name, I watched a movie about it, that in the year 2040, technology will transcend humanity. That's the year that we're able to basically upload a consciousness into some sort of tech, and that if you make it to that year, you'll be basically immortal, not in the sense that we know of humanity, but in like an uploaded consciousness form. So my question is, Scott,
Probably stream every day.
I
do
found the
those
guy.
people,
His name's
is it
Ray.
Ken? Ray.
Kurzweil.
I think he invented
I
the
do know that
synthesizer
name.
or something. Ray Kurzweil.
Google's chief futurist, Ray Kurzweil, says that
I do know that name.
he believes he believes the year 2045 will be the year.
He moved it. Or I'm wrong. One of the two.
No, I think he moved it. I think he moved it, dude.
He's going to keep pushing it back 5 years over and over and over again. But he's going to do it way ahead of time so nobody really notices.
I don't know. Now that Chat GPT is here. Or,
Yo.
I'm sorry, Open GPT, not Chat GPT.
That
Open
stuff is
GPT maybe
wild.
it's gonna move it up again.
I'm just going to
Yeah,
ask
it's
them to draft for me next year. I'm going to be like, here, what's my best draft strategy? It's
Did
going
you
to
guys-
change the game.
Zero
guys-
RB time. It's gonna be like,
I knew it.
Have you guys gotten into the Chat GPT yet?
yeah, I've
I've gotten-
around with that stuff.
I've gotten into the content around it. I haven't played around with it
Yeah,
myself.
I've been
though.
playing with the
I've-
API a bit.
It's been cracking me up, some of the stuff I'm seeing coming out of there, dude. People are like, recreate the conversation that Moses had with God, except use the slang of today's youth. And it's like the
That
conversation
has been
like,
around for a while. That technology, the Open GPT is just the open source version of it.
Yeah.
so cool, dude.
I saw one where it was like, write me a Drake song, and it was a Drake song. Like it was just like it was exactly. They gave him some more inputs, like some more things for it to be
Some
about.
sad
but
boy rap.
some sad
Sad
boy
boy
rap.
rap.
They absolutely killed it.
Crushed. Yeah.
Guys, I got another Dear Diary for us. One more from me. Dear Diary, Dear Diarrhea, don't fear the running back dead zone in the drafts next year. I'm
What
not
is the
saying
running
to
back dead
ignore
zone?
it. The running back dead zone is this area that exists in the draft after the top tier backs are gone. People start, supposedly, this is the theory, panicking and drafting running backs at an elevated value to make sure they don't miss out on the next tier of running backs. Usually you see it in rounds like 3 through 5 or 4 through 6, depending on the year. You'll see this round where everyone declares it the running back dead zone. Don't draft guys out of there. You know some players that you could have gotten in the running back dead zone this year? We'll start low.
Miles Sanders.
David Montgomery, a perfectly fine starting running back. Miles Sanders, a great starting running back. Josh Jacobs was there in the running back dead zone for a lot of the season. We're talking about potentially the number one
Right.
fantasy running back this year. There is value to be had. Don't
Rhamondre
discount someone.
Stevenson.
Rhamondre Stevenson. See, of course, there's other names in there that didn't quite pan out. Like we know that AJ Dillon was sitting in there. Elijah
Feels like
Mitchell
Rhamondre
was
a
sitting
bit
in there.
outside of the dead zone.
The running back dead zone was like
Like
the late
8th or 9th round.
The running back dead zone was the late first, early second round. Where you would
This year?
Javonte Williams, Najee Harris, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara. Like, there you go.
James Conner.
There's your dead zone.
Just pay attention to the situation and don't just buy, oh, I need to skip running back in the 4th and 5th round because that's the RB dead zone. Look at the situation for each of these players. See if it makes sense why they're getting drafted here. Because there's value to be had and people are scared of those backs. The number of times I heard about the running back dead zone this offseason while I was just drafting Josh Jacobs over and over and over again was way too high. And I almost fell for it. I almost started buying into it. But next year, I need to remember, do not fear the supposed running back dead zone because there's still value to be had in those rounds. And I think next year we're going to see it even more because I think with the names that Kupp just listed, we're going to see a push of more wide receivers going early. We're going to see more early round, first round wide receiver picks because of the Najee Harris, the Javonte Williams, the Alvin Kamara, the DeAndre Swift. Hell, even Jonathan Taylor was a little bit disappointing compared to expectation, right? If you drafted him first overall. So we may see these running backs even get pushed a little bit. There may be even better value at the running back position next year.
Yeah, I like that one, Simon. I think I'll throw a follow-up on here. So, Dear Diarrhea, I say don't use the outcome of a single season to confirm your beliefs on a strategy, right? Like, let's detach the outcome from the process here. Because I think that's what happens with the running back dead zone is you're looking at essentially just the layout of a landscape of running backs from last year. People were using last year's finishes to say, okay, well, these guys probably aren't worth it. Miles Sanders probably isn't worth it. Josh Jacobs, there's a lot of uncertainty there. Probably not worth it. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, 100%. Scott Fish coming in here saying, yeah, people with Jacob Sanders are so pissed in that dead zone. Yeah, they're so mad right now. So mad that they got Jacobs and Sanders leading their team. Dale, I like that one, though, because we see it all the time. We see the swings. Rookie drafts, I feel like, is where it's really prevalent, where you can see this. Like the push for wide receivers or running backs going earlier in Dynasty rookie drafts. It swings back and forth based on what's going on. We get a crazy wide receiver year. The year Odell Beckham Jr. came out, all of a sudden we see wide receivers getting pushed up crazy high.
Year.
Right. And then we get these running back years. And then the next year, Royce Freeman, Ronald Jones, Rashad Penny are getting drafted in the first 5 picks of rookie picks because running backs killed it the year before. Jail, that is such a great point because the trends aren't necessarily sticky from year to year on who's going to outperform who. The talent is different. The situation
isn't there, right? This correlation, but probably not causation there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that often pops in my head whenever I hear people saying "I'll see zero RB works" or "see hero RB work" or whatever strategy they're touting at the time. It's like, well, you're looking at one sample size or one observation.
And you never said, to your credit, you've never said zero RB doesn't work. No. It does, but so do other strategies, and it depends on what you're being given, what the landscape is that year.
Right. I don't prefer that strategy because I think in order for it to really work, you have to have it's a smaller window of pass here to get there. I think other strategies have more pass. Doesn't mean that they're right. Doesn't mean that they're always going to hit or that one strategy is not better than the other one year after another.
When I drafted a lot of zero RB this year. Next year, just looking at what I'm expecting the landscape to be, I don't think I'll draft a lot of zero RB. I think running backs are going to get pushed down a little bit. Like I said, I'll probably draft hero RB or robust RB a lot next year, just based on how the draft board falls. It's just been the past couple of years have been very zero RB friendly. Running backs have been pushed way up. Pay attention to that landscape. They've been zero RB friendly. So I'm going to change my strategy if that landscape changes. And Tim said, just draft best available and figure it out.
That is one strategy that isn't bad. Yeah.
That's always been my strategy. I write an article on this every year, this exact topic, where the real best strategy is learn all the strategies, learn all the targets, no zero
Understand
RB,
the mechanics,
no yin yang tight end, no waiting on wide receiver, no late round QB, know all the people there, take best available to start, and then look at your lineup and say, hey, look, 4 of my top 5 picks were wide receivers. Now I need to focus on the late round running backs that I research, that I know. So for me, I never go into a draft saying I'm going to do zero RB, but sometimes I'll walk out of a draft and say, oh, I had to pivot to zero RB here a little bit. I did a zero RB draft. That's the difference. Don't sit down and say I'm definitively going zero RB.
Right.
I think that's dumb.
It's like saying you're going to make these set moves in chess. I'm going to make these first 25 move regardless of what my opponent does. It's a really dumb way to play.
Exactly. You can have a general idea of your rankings in the beginning, but take what's given to you and then pivot.
Or to continue the chess analogy, have someone feeding you the best picks through vibrating anal beads without telling your league mates.
Bingo. That's how Simon and I win all our leagues.
That's how we win every league that we're in. We learn from the chess masters and then we apply their strategies. And that one is the secret weapon of chess players across the world, or one in particular. Tommy in the chat saying, I'm going Justin, #1 pick next year, either Jefferson or Fields. Just going with the Justin. He says, I want a Justin with that first pick. Done with running back as one. Cough, Jonathan Taylor. See, that's what I'm saying. This sentiment is that running back early is risky right now. And we'll see it flip-flop back again probably in 2 years. But I think we're going to keep on seeing some of that. I think those were good diary entries. Do we have any more pressing diary topics that we need to put in there?
That's it for me.
Then we will shut the diarrhea for today. And we'll open it back up when we've got more. Did you say
JL shut that diarrhea a little close too close to his face? He shut that one like right there.
I prefer to get in it.
Splash.
Would you rather close your laptop with diarrhea in the keyboard, like it's on there and you have to close it and smush it around there? Or
yes. Oh,
the classic tech waffle.
Yeah, it's just that, actually. That's the only option, or that's it. Would you rather do that?
I'd rather do the other part where I don't do that.
Okay, well, JL's taking one side, you're taking the other. You both make great points. Coming up, guys, we are going to go over some playoff strategies in our segment called Playoff, Play On. And then Alex is joining us, Trade Daddy himself, for our video game character lineup draft. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Obviously, you've got a couple identities here, right? And so, Lisa Ann's here. Let's talk sports. Let's talk fantasy. What about my team? What do you think about my team? Like, that's dope, man. Like that brand you have built here is huge. And over in Switzerland, you're a big deal in Switzerland. Of course you are.
In Europe, all over Europe. But when I was at the Jersey show like 2 or 3 weekends ago, my security was shocked because every other guy legit handed me his phone and said, yo, Lise, can you check my lineup? Can you look on the waiver wire? I got bye weeks coming up. You're right. It's really neat how my worlds have become just this synergy between, me being me and then me reaching out to all of these different people and having this common ground that now it's like we're kind of bros when we talk about sports, right? We're just friends. We're all sharing the same heartbreak or pain. Sports is the international language.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Probably every team knows that inking starting pitchers to big deals and big money agreements is bad business. But that's the business they're in. What else are they going to do? That's what it costs to play the game. And all these pitchers realize it. I'd like to sit here and say, well, you should develop your own pitching. You should never pay these guys $25 million a year. But Ray, I don't think teams can do that. It's like the pitchers have a lot of power despite their weaknesses and despite their fragility. They still have so much control over the purse strings of these teams and these GMs and these owners. They don't care, Ray. They're seeing the same numbers we are. They know Jake DeGrom, if they sign him, you pray for 130 innings. Every team knows that, Ray. They may say something different, but they know what's going on. And Ray, it won't stop them. I mean, what do you think DeGrom gets in free agency this year?
I think he'll get 4 or 5 years, and he'll get 35 a year each, right? Paying $20 million for Drew Smyly is stupid. Paying $200 million for DeGrom is idiotic, in my opinion. Jacob DeGrom has had 14 injuries the last 2 years. Like, every part of his body, it's just, and he's phenomenal. But you can't be locked in. If DeGrom makes 25 starts, 26 starts, if he throws 150 innings, you could win your division. You could win the World Series. I get it. But if he does the other thing, which is what he's done the last couple of years, your team is so hamstrung, unless you're one of like 2 or 3 teams, you can't spend your way out of that.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome in to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. we are about to get into our playoff play-on segment, where we help you guys get prepped for the fantasy football playoffs, because they're starting this week, baby, if they didn't already start for you last week. Before we get into that, we got a question from Za in here, and I've got a question for you guys after this. Za said, started off with Eckler, Swift, and Javonte Williams, ending with Eckler, Jacobs, and Barkley. I made sure I made all my players have early buys and take a quarterback in the 5th as his draft strategy over there. How do you guys feel about taking quarterback in that range? Because I think we have seen a switch recently where it was all late round QB, and now we're seeing quarterbacks go a little bit earlier. Maybe some validity in taking quarterback in those mid rounds.
I don't like it.
You don't. You're still late QB. I know that, JL.
Yeah, I think every year we see that get proven, right? Like Lamar has not been the same. Kyler has not been the same. And I was going to look up, while you guys chat, I'll look up the difference here in the different tiers of quarterback, because I haven't looked it up in a while. But the difference in the value above replacement just isn't there.
Coop,
So you're in favor of drafting QBs late or against it?
Late. He's in favor of late.
Yeah. So my philosophy on this, on the onesie positions, as we like to call them, is draft to your strengths. And this goes for pretty much all the positions. But the reality is that most of us kind of can understand whether or not we care enough about certain positions, whether we're good at certain positions, and whether we identify guys on the wire and look for them. I mean, I personally am always looking for wide receivers, and I'm adding wide receivers all the time. So for me, I wait on wide receiver because I trust my ability to find those players. I wait on tight end, obviously, because that's like my brand. So I'm willing to draft RBs earlier. I'm willing to draft QBs earlier. If you think that you have the ability to find that QB late, whether you draft them or whether you're quick enough on the waivers to get them, then wait on QB. Like, if you think that you trust yourself to do that, then do that. Lean into your strengths. If you hate trying to do that, then draft Josh Allen. If you think that you're going to be able to handcuff RBs or find RBs late, then lean into that. You know what I mean? So for me, like, I usually just try and draft the QBs I like if I get them at a value, but just lean into what you believe. So if JL thinks that he can consistently find good quarterbacks on the wire, then it would be a waste for him to draft Josh Allen, right? If you do the research, you put in the work at that position, use that to your advantage. I'm contractually obligated to write about tight ends every single week. It would be a waste for me to draft, Mark Andrews. Maybe Travis Kelce probably would have been a nice pick too, but like still, like I'm not using. If I draft Travis Kelce now every single week, I'm like telling people to pick up Kmet, Ingram, going through all the research, and I don't even use that for myself. So lean into what you're good at, right?
I like that point. I feel a lot more confident identifying late round running backs. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that I've gone into the past couple of years, and I think found decent success. So I'm comfortable.
This
I'm
year,
comfortable waiting for the later rounds and grabbing some of these guys.
Simon, you've been on Kenneth Walker, you've been on Rachaad White, you've been on, you know what I mean? Like, you were one step ahead on a lot of these guys. So we saw that live on this show. So for you personally, if you go out and take 3 running backs with your first 3 picks, you're kind of wasting that skill set, right? So keep that in mind when you're kind of navigating these drafts. Like, sometimes I will, when I'm drafting wide receivers, I'll draft 2 good ones and I'll think to myself, okay, if I overdo it on wide receiver, then I'm going to end up with a bench full of wide receivers that I can't even use. So I think about that when you're building your roster, constructing your roster.
And Zion, you're saying Hurts was in the 5th, so that worked out pretty nice. You're pretty happy grabbing Jalen Hurts in the 5th round. And JL, I don't think what you're saying is there isn't value to be found at those positions, but you're saying you trust yourself to find that value later in the draft, or year after year, we see that value still exists late in the draft as well. And it's not a guarantee when you spend an early pick on one of those guys that it's going to be a return on that draft pick value.
Sure, and that's true in any position, but
Yeah.
at the quarterback position, specifically in one quarterback leagues, most people aren't drafting the beyond 2 quarterbacks. They're typically, making their
That's fine.
team worse. Yeah,
Go
they're
ahead.
making their team worse. And so the QB 14 or QB 15 on the season, oops, I was looking at overall here. QB 14 on the season, 13 is Tua, right? Tua, and he's scored 202.46 fantasy points so far this season. And compare that to a Patrick Mahomes, who's 320 on the season. He was drafted, very highly. Or Josh Allen, 314 fantasy points. And so 114 fantasy point difference. It's not that big.
Patrick Mahomes was once that QB you're talking about, man. The year he threw 50 touchdowns, he was like QB 15 off the board. So
yeah,
really that. And same with tight end. Like people say, oh, it's a wasteland or whatever. Every single year for the past 16 since 2016, so 5 straight years now, a tight end has come from outside the top 17 in ADP to finish top 5. And right now, it looks like Evan Ingram's going to be that guy. He's picked tight end.
Yeehaw!
Looking like it so far. We'll see. But as of right now, it's happening again. It happened with Darren Waller. It happened with Logan Thomas. It happened with Eric Ebron. It happened with Evan Ingram when he was a rookie. Like, guys, there's a guy out there, right? And same with quarterback. Whereas maybe not so much with some of the other positions.
Yeah. And then my other question for you guys, I see Za's name. Have you ever called pizza Za? Just like full up? Just you ever call it Za?
Probably.
Like I want some Za?
I think I have
Probably.
like being that dude on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's get some Za, guys.
Like when I turn to the boys and I say, let's grab an Ubi instead of an Uber.
Ubi.
I'm going out of my way to be that dude, but no, I didn't. I wouldn't go on a first date and be like, let's grab an Ubi and get some Za.
Isn't Ubi
Peeps
like
and
a like a
I did say
yam,
peeps
like
and
a
Jeeves earlier.
like a purple yam?
I don't know, man. That's vegan chatter.
I'm pretty sure they have like Ubi flavored things at Trader Joe's all over the place, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, it is time for our segment Play Off, Play On, where we get you prepped for the fantasy football playoffs. And Coop, I wanted to start out with something that you're pretty familiar with. And I know a lot of people are struggling at tight end this year. They're playing the waiver wire, they're playing matchups, but we've got some hot tight ends for the playoffs. I was just looking at some of these schedules and how they're lining up down there. Pat Freiermuth is standing out to me as a dude with a fantastic playoff schedule down the stretch here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are playing Carolina this week, then Las Vegas, then Baltimore. And Vegas and Baltimore haven't been particularly strong against the tight end. Carolina about middle of the pack.
Carolina, not a good matchup for tight end.
No.
To be honest with you. But the other ones are good. The problem with Pat Freiermuth that has me worried. I mean, I still have him as tight end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I still have him as tight end 7 rest of the season. But as of late, he's only been playing like 50% of the snaps. 55. He played like 55% and 58%. This week he only ran 21 of 35 routes. I don't know what that's about, man. I don't like that. But he seems to be able to reduce regardless. Like, 3 targets, he gets 70 yards. 3 targets, he scores a touchdown. I just worry that the wheels can fall off with that kind of usage. So I am a little bit scared there. Now, what I did do is yesterday I went out and I wrote a full article with rest of season rankings. And in those rankings, you can see the playoff matchups right there. And I color coded them red, green, or yellow. I kind of took a look at, I don't like just going off points against because that's misleading, right? Like
Right.
Kyle, the Patriots are not a good matchup for tight ends, but they let up 5 touchdowns while Kyle Duggar was hurt. So it looks like they might be. They're not. So these are my personal opinions when you look at these rankings. But I've done a lot of looking at it, done a lot of work. Right? You know what I mean? Like I know the games that DeVante Campbell missed for the Packers and the ones he didn't, so you can kind of figure out whether that's a good matchup or not. Spoiler alert, it's not a good matchup for tight ends when DeVante Campbell's playing. So you go in and look at that. You can kind of mix and match your way through it. The top few guys, you're starting them no matter what. I include
Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews,
TJ Hawkinson. And then the next group are the guys that you're probably starting no matter what. But if you have the perfect player with the perfect matchup, you can pivot. So Dalton Schultz, you're starting him this week versus the Jaguars for sure.
right?
You're starting him championship week if you make it versus Tennessee. If you have a pivot week 16 versus the Eagles, you can do that. Like if you have Schultz and Freiermuth, congratulations. Like you could start Schultz versus the Jags, Freiermuth versus Vegas, then come back to Schultz versus Tennessee. Perfect.
Hot.
George Kittle, same thing. George Kittle, good matchup this week. Then he gets the Commanders, who are quite literally the worst matchup for tight ends, week 16, then Vegas. So this article here, if you go, it's on fantasyalarm.com. If you just Google Fantasy Alarm Andrew Cooper, click my name, it'd be the top thing that comes up. You can kind of mix and match your way through the playoffs here. Then there's a couple guys that just have kind of good matchups across the board that are risky. Tyler Conklin, unfortunately, like if you gave Evan Ingram Tyler Conklin's schedule, I would move him all the way up. He plays Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle. My good God. Like,
Is there any way you're starting Tyler Conklin because of those matchups, or are you hands off?
The problem is, it's like, dude, if you could guarantee me Joe Flacco would be the quarterback out there hucking, chucking football, Tyler Conklin was really good with him. And, it's something you got to think about. I'm stashing him on the bench because there's a lot of guys that have bad matchups the last 2 weeks. I'm stashing him on the bench to see, but it's just too hard to trust him right now.
John Luke, how do you feel about just in general, maybe not even just with the tight end position, but holding on to multiple players at these onesie positions, the defenses, the quarterback, the tight end, going into the playoffs to play matchups? Because we get a lot of questions like that. Like, do I hold on to this extra defense? Do I hold on to this extra quarterback for the week 16 matchup?
It's a trade-off question. So it's a good move because you're looking ahead. And most fantasy managers aren't looking ahead, right? They're just playing whatever's right in front of them. So it's a good way to get an edge, but you have to be cognizant of what you're giving up. You're taking up a bench spot, so there's cost to you. If you are giving up your insurance at another position, or your depth is another way to put that, then it's probably not worth it, depending on your team and your format and your roster, all those things. So you got to be able to make that trade-off decision.
When I'm looking at my team, and if one of my starting wide receivers is Mike Williams and my starting tight end is George Kittle, and I've got Josh Jacobs with his broken pinky, and I've got Saquon Barkley dealing with his hip injury, all in my starting lineup, I'm probably less likely to drop depth to pick up a streaming viable player for a bad matchup, right? Because I probably need that depth. That's a lot of risk in my starting lineup. I fully agree with you, JL. And that situation was totally hypothetical. I don't have a team sitting there right now with all four of those players causing concern for me. I do. I'm worried about them every week.
Yeah, JL's entirely right, though. It's like it's so dependent on your roster and your format whether you can afford to get away with it. But if you can, it's huge to make those moves now in advance, because not everybody's doing what we're doing. Not everybody's sitting here and thinking about who has a good matchup next week. So if you can go out and do that where you're weak, if you're weak at tight end or you're weak at defense, then you do it. But you don't do it if you have Travis Kelce, right? Like, you don't do it if you have the Cowboys defense. You just kind of ride with that.
M. Suford in here saying, "Oh yeah, Zabra." What's up, M. Suford? Welcome in. What's up? Did we ever consider in that commercial where they were saying "Waza"? They were just asking you, like, what does that mean?
Pizza.
What's za? Just over and over again, and no one answered their question. We had a question from M. Suford in here as well, though. He said, "Would you consider playing Evan Ingram over Mark Andrews this week?" John Luke, Evan Ingram's 15 target game. We'll go to the Tinkler after this. Are you playing him over Marky A?
I don't think it's crazy to consider that if Tyler Huntley doesn't play this week. And so this is going to be dependent on Tyler Huntley and your risk tolerance. Can you stomach it? Because I don't think it's a bad move. Tyler Huntley isn't playing. We've seen what Anthony Brown is. It's not anything to sneeze at.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. If Huntley is playing, I'm starting Mark Andrews simply because Evan Ingram has one of the worst matchups for tight end. So if Evan Ingram was playing like the Cardinals, I would be like, yeah, do it. Like, let's go crazy. But because he's playing the Cowboys, I'm like, I don't know.
Yikes.
I know it stinks. Like, it's like we finally get a little bit of momentum going. 2 good games back to back, but they were reversed, Detroit, and then this matchup this week. Like, then he gets literally like a bottom 3 matchup. It would have been nice if he just had a middle of the pack matchup so we could get a little more excited about it.
It hurts. So are you off starting Evan Ingram this week? Like, you're going elsewhere, going to a Hunter Henry or something instead?
No, I'm not going to go all the way down to the next tier. So, and that includes Gerald Everett now that Mike Williams is back. So I'm not going to go down to the tier. Like, there's a whole tier 6 in my rankings of good guys that have good matchups this week, like Gerald Everett. Hunter Henry has a good matchup. Dawson Knox does. Tyler Conklin. I'm not going to go all the way down to that tier. But if I'm in the same tier, I'll start somebody else. So I'll start Greg Dulcich against Arizona. Last time Brett Rippon was the quarterback, he got 9 targets. So I'm not that worried about it. I'll consider Chig Okonkwo against Los Angeles Chargers, right? So that's where I'm at. Like, I usually only defer to matchups within tiers. And I'll have my weekly specific rankings on Thursday. But that's kind of the way I look at it, is like, I'm not going to go off Pat Freiermuth against Carolina and drop a couple tiers just for a match.
No,
You know,
makes sense. We had a question in here from Spooky. What's up, Spooky Season? Welcome in. Said, how
Welcome,
y'all
Spooky.
feeling about Chuba Hubbard? Just picked him up. Looks like he's good for 15 plus touches a game. Coop, how you feeling about Mr. Chuba Hubbard? Had a pretty good game this past week.
yeah, he's got that. The thing is, he's got that stigma on him now, just from the time he spent being the lead guy when Christian McCaffrey was out, and he didn't really do a whole lot. So
Yeah.
it's hard to shake that, especially with Donta Foreman there, still playing well as well. So I don't know, man. And the matchup is against the Steelers, so it's all right. I don't know. Do you guys feeling the tube? I would rather start him in like a DFS or something than trust him in my fantasy playoffs.
He's still getting the carries, which is nice to see. Just the sheer volume of carries, even though Foreman, I believe, is out carrying him. 17 carries in week 12. They had a bye, and then 14 carries in week 14. He's someone like in one league that I'm in. I need running backs. My running back depth is so bad because of injury. And so Chuba Hubbard, I think, is a fine play. His matchups the next 3 games for fantasy playoffs, not fantastic. He's got Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Tampa Bay. All 3 are either somewhere from middle of the pack to bad matchups for them.
Yeah,
But in the league where I have to start Mike Boone, I would chop off a pinky to start Chuba Hubbard instead.
No one's starting Mike Boone, dude. But to JL's point, like they won these
Mike Boone's on the IR now.
They won these last
I
2
started
weeks.
him last week.
Yeah, last week.
They won these games against Denver and Seattle. So of course he can run the ball. Running is the luxury of the winning team. It's the other games you're scared about. The game before that where they lost to Baltimore and he ran the ball 4 times for 0 yards. That's what you're scared of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not looking good over there. Not looking good. What are we thinking about Deonta Foreman? Do you think he's still startable in the fantasy playoffs? With Chuba Hubbard getting this work? Chuba looking all right? Are you losing confidence in Deonta Foreman?
It's the same reasoning applies to Foreman as well. He's getting more carries and it's more consistent. So I'd rather probably start Foreman over Chuba Hubbard.
Starting Foreman over Chuba Hubbard. I think I lean that direction with you as well, JL.
Like look at the carries.
Now at the
when like both the guys, like Foreman's getting 20 plus and this guy and getting 17. Like you can't bank on them to run the ball 40 times each week. No one's suggesting that. So unless you think that happens, it's hard to do that. You might as well just bet that Seattle's going to win. Just bet the money line.
They have been running a ton. The underperformance carries are insanely high since week 7, so it's not a new thing.
The funny thing about that matchup this
working
week,
all right for him. Got a couple W's out there.
Funny thing about the Carolina Seattle matchup this week is I would like popped over to Seattle's subreddit, and you would think that they won this week. That subreddit only half cares about their actual matchups. They're really just rooting for the Broncos to lose. Like they're more than rooting for the Seahawks to win. They're rooting for the Broncos to lose and that pick to be like 2 overall or 3 overall.
That checks out. I was going to say, is it just vitriol towards the Broncos? But it's probably a mixture of both. It's more about the draft pick, but there's probably some sick enjoyment in watching the quarterback that has been their quarterback who left to go to the Broncos fail over there, whether it was his choice or not. Not looking good. That's pretty funny. I love sports rivalry, sports hatred, sports.
Let's just say I love sports.
I do love sports. Sports are great.
Yeah, fantastic.
The sports on today. We get to watch France and Morocco face off today in the World Cup semifinals.
I'm gonna go find a place to play pickleball.
Ooh, I've never played jail, but I've told you there's a place near me called Chick and Pickle. Chick and Pickle, where they have pickleball courts and fried chicken. And I want to go very, very bad, but I've never been. And you got to play this weekend, right? This past weekend, this past week, you got to play some pickleball.
Yeah, did I mention that on the stream?
I don't think so.
Man, first time ever playing. We got to the semifinals.
Oh, you had never played?
No, I never played. It was hella fun though.
Dude, we did this pickleball unit in high school. Every year, it would be a huge thing where it'd be this pickleball tournament. Our like gym teacher loved it, right? Everyone would play. But here's my theory on the pickleball unit that we would do in school. The teacher was also the basketball coach, and he would legit tell the class, like, for the integrity of the pickleball tournament, if you hit a ball in the court and it doesn't bounce back up, let me know so that we can make sure we're playing on the right areas. And he would go and put tape down wherever the ball wouldn't bounce. I'm fully convinced that he was using that during the basketball season to know where the soft spots in the court were, so that he could set traps and stuff. Just a conspiracy theory.
That's pretty funny.
I like it.
We had a question in here from Spooky Season. Spooky said, Gerald, what about Darren Waller? Been holding him all year on IR and he's back this week. Is he worth trusting in the playoffs, or should I roll with another tight end? I have Komet, Everett, and Chig. And then Spooky said, ignore the Gerald. I don't know where that came from.
Gerald.
Gerald, what about Darren Waller?
Tell us, Gerald.
So, Gerald, Darren Waller?
All of a sudden, Gerald Everett comes on the show.
He just shows up.
What do we call him? What did someone call him earlier on in one of our shows, Simon? Earlier on in the season, someone called him something.
Greg?
Was it something? Greg Everett.
It was Greg Everett.
Greg, that's right. Yeah, it was.
Greg Everett.
He gets pissed every time we bring it up. That might have been
Greg Everett.
Might have been Spooky, honestly.
It might have been.
No,
it was Spooky. Spooky said it was me, and I called him Greg.
It was Spooky. That's what I thought, dude. Yeah, you guys
never let me live it down because we love it. It's Greg Everett. Greg Everett just sounds better than Gerald Everett.
Here's the thing with Darren.
We appreciate you coming in, Spooky, but
here's the thing that sucks about Darren Waller.
I was about to ask you, Coops. Take it away.
Not only is he coming off injury, but he's facing the Patriots this week. So I would, even if he's active, I'm not starting him this week against the Patriots. Kyle Duggar and the gang over there have been pretty good at handling the tight ends. Against Pittsburgh, if he does something against New England, plays a ton of snaps, he looks like he's back to normal, you could probably start him against Pittsburgh, but then in championship week, you have San Francisco. So much like Dallas Goedert, David Njoku, I like rostering these guys, but I'm actively planning to start other players for the terrible matchups if I can. Like, I'm not going to start Dallas Goedert this week either against Chicago. He gets Chicago, Dallas, New York. So if it doesn't look good this week, I mean, you have to have another plan.
You gotta. I'm with you, Coop. I don't think you can start him this week against the Patriots, but I understand you held him this long. You want to get him in there. See what he does. See how much he plays, and then maybe week 16 is the week where you can get some Darren Waller in your lineup. Exactly. Scott Fishing, you're saying, man, Coop really has me debating bringing back the second chance dance. People loved it. It was just really annoying on my end, but add 5 years to my coding skills, and I think this would be easy. So we might be getting some second chance dance back.
I hope you would code in, Scott. You let me know.
That'd be dope, dude. Yeah, I'll give you moral support. I can't really code, but I'm here for you. You know that. You know this.
M. Sufer wants to know, who's your guys' favorite NFL team? I've been a Browns fan. That has been the team that I cheer for. So I guess that's my favorite. Jail, what about you?
Coop is clearly a Bills fan.
I do have a Bills jersey. As crazy as that is.
Ravens fan, I guess.
Ravens fan. Jail was
a
former
Ravens
Washington
fan. I guess
fan
he's just
a while
ago.
Yeah.
I live in Baltimore. I like going to the games. I'm a Ravens fan.
Jail's an unbiased analyst. He's just a fan of the game, right?
It's true.
And now I'm a San Antonio Brahmas fan of the XFL that I live here in San Antonio. The San Antonio Brahmas are where it's at. Guys,
Eagles fan. Oh, yeah, I'm a FCF Zappers fan, right?
Throw your favorite teams in the chat. I like to know who everyone's favorite team is so that or maybe you don't want us to know because Tommy never hears the end of it with his Raiders stuff. So if you support a team and you want us to mock you for it, throw it in the chat. We'll celebrate you if it's a good team. And Spooky said lifetime Eagles fan. We got a bunch of Eagles fans in here. Fly, Eagles, fly. Am I right or am I right? Fan. It is. Coming up, guys, we have Alex Trade Daddy joining the show for our video game character lineup draft. We're drafting football teams with video game characters. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt. We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
I just get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that, all those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man.
Yeah.
So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us right now for our video game character lineup draft is our friend Alex, aka Trade Daddy, aka Peaked in High School. For those of you that haven't hung out with us when Alex has been on or are unaware of what he does, he creates the ever so powerful trade value charts, and he's a contributor over at The Athletic and 4for4. Alex, Trade Daddy, thanks so much for joining us today, my friend.
Hey guys, it's sad that trade season's over, but I'm happy to be here and focus on my true love of video games. No, it's good. I'm glad we can do something still. The season's not over, and I would miss seeing your guys' face every morning.
Oh, we miss you so much. We can't let you go. Dustin in here going, Alex. There's some hype for Alex to be in here. Guys, what's
Alex,
up, Jim?
I'm curious. So what time of year do you do the trade value charts, and do you do Dynasty year round?
So I do Dynasty year round. I'm working on having those be live. That's a whole project. I stopped. This week was the first week I stopped because, I mean, you kind of got what you have now. The way, at least most people should be doing their benches, is like shifting from like just having the bottom players to blocking people to setting up for the playoffs. Like, it's different. So like even just ranking the top 150 isn't the same because you only really care about your starters and then handcuffs and then, 2 tight ends maybe or 2 DSTs. So I think they lose their value at this point. I just didn't feel like doing it anymore, to be honest. I was tired.
Makes sense. It makes sense. This is a tired time of year. It gets dark early.
Wait, that's
all the Christmas shopping and everything. You get tired.
That's an option.
Yeah, you can just be tired instead, Coop.
Yeah. All right, see you guys on Monday.
Guys, we brought Alex on today for the ever so important video game character lineup draft. How this is going to work: 5 rounds. We got to draft a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, a tight end, and a kicker. All video game characters. So when you make your pick, tell us what position they're playing for you and who the character is. We got to get through 5 rounds here, build out these teams, and then we'll see who put together the best team of video game characters. I randomized the order before you got here, Alex. And Alex, you got the first overall pick in this draft. The order is Alex, Simon, Coop, JL. So JL,
Why
you
am I
got the
always
turn.
last?
The random number generator on Google hates you, I think.
Dear Lord.
Coop and I are in the middle. JL on the turn down there. Alex, you've got the first overall pick.
So
Where are you going with
quarterback,
this?
wide receiver, running back, and then what's the fourth one?
Tight end and kicker.
Tight
So
end.
5
And
positions.
kick. Oh shit. Well, I didn't know it was that, so that's different. Okay, well, so I'm going to quickly go Sonic the Hedgehog for wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he can catch, right? Like he's Tyreek. He's Tyreek Hill. I just drafted Tyreek Hill for wide receiver. You're welcome, everyone. Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going to go with Sonic the Hedgehog as well, was wide receiver.
Yeah.
I
I can see.
think that was a powerhouse. I think that was a powerhouse first overall pick. That's one that makes a ton of sense. I was tempted to go wide receiver with my first pick too. And Alex, if you would have left Sonic on the board for me, I honestly think I would have taken him right there with the number 2 overall pick. But instead, I'm going to go with my quarterback. I'm going to go with a leader here. Someone who I know is a leader and can get stuff done. Master Chief of the Halo series is going to be the quarterback for my team. And I'm taking him in the first round. Shout out Master Chief. Welcome to the team.
Plus, anyone that's ever played Halo knows how aggressively grenades are spammed in that game. So Master Chief, I know he can throw.
Definitely can
I know
throw.
I know he's got an arm.
He does.
Oop, you're on the clock. We've got one quarterback and one wide receiver off the board. The other fun part about this draft is you can kind of pay attention to what other people drafted. Maybe certain types of players are better for certain positions, and you can wait if they're gone.
Yeah.
Also, Jay supporting your pick, Alex, saying nothing but bubble screens for Sonic. He's going to take him to the house.
I'm saying, dude.
I would have
Leaves anything. I don't care. He's getting the ball in his hands and he's going. Catch him. I dare you. Like
Sonic was dude. I would have taken him in the first round at running back. I'm gonna take.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a. I'm gonna take a different player at running back here. I'm gonna take. And for anyone that's ever played, you guys ever played Apex Legends?
Yeah, but not a lot.
No.
I'm very bad.
For anybody out there that knows it, I'm taking this character, Octane. He is the fastest character, and he gets this little stim pack thing that he gets to use where he just goes like this and he ends up double fast. So give me Octane. I'm taking him in as my running back. I don't think there's too many super fast characters out there. Maybe there are, but give me Octane from Apex Legends.
Octane, that's a great pick. Running back position, Octane. So we've got one from each position drafted in the first round so far, Dale. Are you going to keep this trend going, go with a tight end or a kicker? Or are you drafting one from one of these other positions that we've taken so far?
That's a good question.
You got 2 picks here.
I do have 2 picks. The first pick, I'm going to go with Spider-Man for a wide receiver. It seems pretty self-explanatory. Can use his little webs, grab that ball anytime he wants. He's got sticky fingers. He's going to catch anything pretty much coming his way.
I want to be mad that you bought Spider-Man into a video game character draft, but it's just such a good pick. You're just right. He is a video game character.
He is a video gamist.
Damn it, JL. What a pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that one. Oh, and then this next pick, this is where things get interesting. I don't know where I want to go with this. Let's go with let's go with I'm gonna go with Mewtwo as my quarterback.
Mewtwo as your quarterback. What is he speaking telepathically to his teammates? He's got that going on.
Doesn't even need to huddle.
He's got the power.
No huddle, constantly just teleporting across the field. Scrambles. How you gonna put a spy on Mewtwo? Good luck.
Oh my god, I'm upset right now. I feel like you just killed the turn with Spider-Man and Mewtwo. You just killed it. You've set the bar high. Coop, you're back on the clock. JL's got Mewtwo chucking the ball to Spider-Man on his team right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna take I got a pretty obvious one here that I gotta take. And as a big tight end guy, I gotta take what I believe to be the tight end one. Give me Donkey Kong at tight end.
That was going to be my choice.
I had that on my list for tight end too.
I think he's the unanimous tight end one. It's just whether you wanted to draft Travis Kelce or not, right?
Yeah.
Give me Donkey Kelce.
Big old hands.
Big boy.
I think that's a great tight end pick, Coop. So far you've got Octane at running back and Donkey Kong at the tight end position. And I was going to go tight end with this next pick as well. You guys played BioShock?
I have. You go Big Daddy?
Big Daddy is going to be the tight end on my team. He's got the size. He doesn't need to be fast.
He's
just
gonna poke a lot of
power.
holes in that ball though.
Oh, but it's going right. They can just get a new one. It's just going to go straight to the ball. Good luck stripping the ball out of his hands. He's unstrippable. So Big Daddy is going to be my tight end. So far, I've got Master Chief and Big Daddy.
It's a solid team.
Not as much fun as yours.
Jedi said you took mine, Coop.
You took it.
On the same page. You took it. Couple of ill-mind Jedis.
Which means, Alex, you're back on the clock and you're on the turn.
We can't draft like Madden characters, right? Like Lamar Jackson quarterback. Yeah.
Be a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you want to draft Lamar Jackson, JL's got freaking Mewtwo under center.
Yeah,
I'm not sure Lamar Jackson's standing a chance
not
when we
good.
have video game characters in there. Like, sure, maybe you can draft Justin Jefferson, but he can't shoot webs.
I think I'm going Kratos from Gods of War.
Oh,
God of War.
God of War, yeah.
And I'm just trying to decide tight end or quarterback. He's just so big. I'm going quarterback. I think I can fill my tight end somewhere else.
Kratos at quarterback. We got Kratos at quarterback for Alex, which means you got another pick. So far, you've drafted a quarterback and a wide receiver. You got 3 other positions still on the board available to you. Where are you rolling?
Hear me out. Kirby at running back.
It's a solid
He's gonna
pick.
be slow, but try and tackle him. Tackle him.
He's not super slow. He's decently quick.
Kirby at running back for Alex. Yeah, I don't mind that pick. I was wondering where to fit Kirby into my squad, and I couldn't quite figure it out, like where I wanted him to get in there. But I think at running back, he fits pretty well. Man, I am so not sure where I want to go with this next pick. I've got a bunch of different players. There's a tight end that I was considering that maybe I just get another big-bodied wide receiver and I build my team out that way. But I want a speedster. I want a speedster on my team that feels like something that I need. You know what we're going to go with? We're going to go with
I feel like I'm forgetting all video game characters right now. Like I know there's someone missing. I'm just not thinking of.
There's a running back that I wish I took instead of the one I took. I was just like took one off the top of my head there.
Yeah, I picked the wrong one. I even had one written down and I grabbed the wrong one.
Man, I'm running through the Pokemon games thinking like, oh, is there someone from there that I want to throw in there? I'm running through Animal Crossing. Like, is there anyone in there that would be fun to throw into my lineups? Then I'm running through like Skyrim and these other games. Like, who am I going to plug in here? But I think I'm going to the Mario well. And I'm going to take a fast guy who can do some hovering, do some floating so we can get up and over a lot of the players. Yoshi is going to be my wide receiver. I'm taking Yoshi as the wide receiver on my team. He's got speed. Yoshi's pretty fast. He's got ups too. Dude can jump. He can even float a little bit. And he's going to throw eggs at you while you're trying to attack him. Dude can throw eggs that explode all over the place. And then he's got the speed too, where he can roll up into an egg and roll down the field similar to how Sonic can. So if he's able to get up there and get the ball, get into egg form, he's gone. So Yoshi is going to be my wide receiver with Master Chief throwing him the ball.
I like that.
Coop, you are back on the clock. So far, you've got Donkey Kong at tight end and Octane at running back.
I'm going to. So you talk about the Pokemon realm. I am going to go Pokemon realm. I'm going to take a guy that I've seen him throw many a Pokeball. Kid's got a hell of an arm. Give me Ash Ketchum at quarterback.
What, Ash? Going Ash?
He's 10.
That's just pandering. He's just trying to get votes.
Child.
Give me
he has no
Ash.
powers or anything. What a dumb pick.
Dude's got a.
I want an 11-year-old throwing the ball.
He's throwing around balls full of Charizard, man. He's throwing medicine balls, man. This kid's probably got a cannon, bro. You can't be, dude. That video game came out so long ago. He's got to be 30 by now.
He stayed 10 the whole time.
He's in his prime.
Having heard the fan theory that he's actually in a coma and all of Pokemon is a fever dream.
I'd say the same thing about Adventure Time. It's the same theory.
It is the same. It's the same theory for all shows where kids don't age.
Yeah.
So Coop has drafted a 10-year-old who the heaviest thing he's ever thrown is a Pokeball to be the quarterback for his team.
Kid can chuck it, dude. Kid can chuck it.
And Spooky said Ash gives his players 100% morale.
I also get all the Pokemon.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, without a doubt.
I get everything that
all
comes.
of the
Everything
Pokemon.
that comes. Well, all the ones that Ash Ketchum has in his Pokeballs. So, I mean, depends on your Pokedex. Mine is pretty full.
We can only carry 6 at a time though, so you're at least limited in that regard. Or we could
Let's
go with
take-
like the Pokemon Trainer style from Super Smash Bros, where you get Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard. Those could be the options
Yeah,
right
that
there.
That could be a fair compromise here.
I think that might be the way we roll right there. You get those 3 Pokemon and then Ash out there. That's a pretty solid squad if you can throw those 3 out there.
That is
So
very solid.
Coop taking Ash Ketchum, which means JL, you're back on the clock. 2 picks back to back. Where are you rolling here?
All right, I'm gonna go with Bowser at tight end.
Yeah.
Strong
Yep.
pick.
Body boy. Big body boy. It's gonna be hard to box him out with the spikes on his back and just his general demeanor, just a menace. And then I'm gonna go Captain Falcon for the running back position here. I was tempted to go Captain Falcon for the kick as a kicker.
That's what I'm saying. The
Jumping
kicker,
kick.
bro. That was
Yeah,
my
but-
kicker. So now I got to think of another kicker.
Yeah, but I think that he's a pretty good running back too. Very fast.
JL taking Captain Falcon. I like it. And you got some power running with that guy. And he's a little bit tall for a running back, but I think he can get it done.
He can just power through. Yeah, you're right. He can just power over some of these defensive players.
He can just power straight through them.
On this one, I'm gonna pick a wide receiver here. I'm gonna take a video game character that can literally fly. Gonna be difficult to cover. So give me Spyro the Dragon at wide receiver.
Oh, I hunt Spyro on the
Spyro.
weekends.
Spyro at wide receiver.
And I love those games. I have to say, those games, one of the first early games that truly had like a great co-op version of it where you could play like 2 people. Some of the not the very first one, but some through there playing with my sister, playing with my buddy. Spyro got a special place in my heart. Wide receiver 1.
Wide receiver 1, Spyro. Man,
Too bad you have an 11-year-old throwing to him.
Kid's got a cannon. Kid's got a cannon, bro.
Yeah, definitely has a cannon without a doubt, Coop. How hard do you think Ash Ketchum can throw?
I'm just
not
imagining my current player, like
More of a dink.
character in Pokemon who can only throw like 5 feet in front of him.
More of a dink,
Like
more of a dink and
ridiculous.
dunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
More of a dink. He's like Chad Pennington.
Swag Kelly.
Where I'm going here with my next pick, I brought it up whenever we were talking about this a little bit earlier. My running back is going to be a guy who does nothing but run and eat balls. They're just moving straight forward, and good luck catching him. The whole point is that he can avoid everybody.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man is joining my squad as the running back for my team. Waka, 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 waka.
Doesn't
waka,
really
waka,
have
waka, waka,
burst.
to victory. You don't need burst. I got James Conner. I got James Conner on my team is what I got. And we're happy about it.
Good thing my defense is the all ghost defense, IDP.
No, we got Pac-Man as the running back for my team here, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Alex, that means you're back on the clock. And which positions do you have left?
Before you do that, we got some people in the chat. It was Jay said, underrated pick. Well done, JL. Thanks, Jay. Spooky said, this is tough right now. Teams are pretty even. And then he said Spyro, and it's an underrated pick. Dustin said Spyro has crap for hands, though. Yeah, does he have little T-Rex arms?
Yeah.
He'll catch it with his mouth like a dog.
Pop it again.
He's got a
We're
dragon
going
mouth.
through balls like nothing.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we got video game characters playing here. Without a doubt, we're running through balls. Balls are getting killed all over the place on this field. Alex,
Alex.
you got the next pick. In the positions that you have left, you've got tight end and kicker left as your last 2 positions.
And I picked both, right?
In
a row?
Yeah,
Or is it
you're on the
you're
turn
on
right
the
now.
turn? I think, all right, so this is an old school one. I'm going to go Duke Nukem for kicker. That Mighty Foot.
Wow.
I don't, that one's old. I don't know. That
Mighty
one,
Foot.
Good one. I had Duke Nukem on my list.
yeah,
I
Mighty
played,
Foot.
I played that game on legit on like a floppy disk. That's a throwback, bro.
Yeah. It was that. I had some other ways I would have went, but I remember that one. And then we're going to go, I think I'm going to go Machamp for tight end. 4 arms. He's muscular. I mean, that's the real Travis Kelce, right? Like, he's out there just muscling people out of the way. Everyone knows he can hop, too. He's getting up there.
That's
Pretty
Machamp.
good.
good pick until
Man.
my quarterback puts him in a ball, dog. Look out now.
It's someone else's Pokemon. Everyone knows you can't catch someone else's Pokemon. The trainer batted the ball away.
How do you get
Yeah.
Pokemon? Oh yeah, it says.
Did they ever explore somebody trying to do that?
Yeah.
Like I know
Um,
Team Rocket always
oh,
tries to
sure.
steal Pokemon, but just like
You-
you're just walking down the street, someone just throws a Pokeball at your
Team
Pikachu.
Rocket. Yeah, you got to steal him in like a,
Dude, what the
like a
hell?
burlap sack. That's how Team Rocket does it, right?
Did you ever throw your Master Ball at one in the like blue version? I never had the cojones to try it. Did it work?
Somebody
Is that
else's
too old?
Pokemon. Oh, that'd be
I
crazy.
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if I ever tried. It's so
Only
long
one
ago.
played.
Man, I remember using my first Master Ball on a Rhyhorn in the very first Pokemon game because it was like
Nice.
high level, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! I gotta make sure I get it." And then I was like, "Oh, shoot, catching Mewtwo's really a
That's what
problem."
I'm saying.
Like,
Like you could literally
really a
just
problem.
you could just save outside the Safari Zone and get a perfect Rhyhorn.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
just-
No, it was
come on.
it was I was 5 years
Come on.
old, and I just was like, I gotta get this guy. And then I spent like so many Pokeballs. It was like 200 Pokeballs to try to catch Mewtwo over there because I don't like Ultra Balls either. They don't look as cool whenever you throw them out there. Like as soon as they changed the animation so it shows the actual Pokeball they were caught in,
It's so much cooler.
I started catching things in Pokeballs because I think they look so much cooler instead of the stupid Ultra Ball design. That puts me on the clock. I'm trying to stall over and over and over again as I think about what I'm going to take here because my last position that I have to fill is my kicker position. And there's a bunch of different ways that I am thinking about going here. But I think I'm going to stay on the Pokemon side here. And I'm going to take a Pokemon that is known specifically for kicking.
Yeah.
It's not a super popular one. It's one of the more recent Pokemon, but Cinderace is literally a fire rabbit soccer player known specifically for kicking. That is what its main power is. And I'm going to take Cinderace. I was considering Hitmonlee. Know what I
Should've
mean? I was
taken Hitmonlee,
considering
dude.
taking Hitmonlee
Yeah,
with the
Hitmonlee.
kicks. But
Yeah, get the
Cinderace is a
votes.
trained soccer player. So I'm going to take Cinderace here.
Just wait till I pick.
It's
Hitmonlee
not gonna
and
be a
just
crowd
totally ruin your
pleaser.
pick.
Illmind Jedi in the chat yelling, Hitmonlee! I know Hitmonlee is going to be the more popular one in the chat, but I truly believe Cinderace will be the better kicker for my
I
team.
think you can make a logical argument for that, Simon. Because I had Hitmonlee too as on my list, but now that I'm thinking about it, Cinderace is definitely more of the like distance kicker type of person versus Hitmonlee is like a fighting kicker type
Right.
of person. It's got leg
Right.
strength, but I don't know as much about like kicking things at distance.
The mechanics to kick a ball specifically, not just kick a
Cinderace
human
does
in the
that.
chest.
Specifically. Oh, damn. That's a good pick.
Thank
good
you.
pick.
Thank you. I mean, Coop, you're back on the clock for your last pick here. You got one more position left. It's your kicker. Where are you going?
So for my kicker, I'm going to go, and I wouldn't have made this pick if it wasn't for Alex inspiring me with his Madden idea. So I'm going to go over to UFC, and I'm going to take
Nice.
Anderson Silva as my kicker. I thought about Mirko Krokop, but I think Anderson Silva, he's got the range, and then he can be my punter too, and just go down and choke out whoever gets the ball.
Just love, like, in this draft, we've got Bowser, Spyro, Pac-Man, and Anderson Silva.
Dude, I want to make a waiver. I would, dude, if there's a certain player available, I kind of want to make a waiver move after, if that's allowed.
What you got, JL?
All right, my last position here, my last video game character I'm drafting is Chun-Li, kicker.
Yeah.
Such a good
Those
pick.
are my two kickers. I had them written down.
Yeah,
I
that's a great
almost went
pick.
that one.
That's JL, man.
Feels very chalk.
You got a pretty but no, you got to take those picks. Man. You got to take those picks.
Dale, I'm looking at your team, and I just don't see a way anybody beats you in the poll.
We'll see. Twitter will determine.
Usually I leave and I'm like, oh, for sure I'm gonna win. I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, JL's got this. Let's do a quick run through.
Usually it's clear
Can I
who's going to win because he gets the first pick.
Can I make a waiver move?
JL,
Judges?
I'm gonna let you decide.
Judges,
Waiver move, or do we leave the draft picks the way they are?
come on.
We leave them how they are. What's your
We leave
what's your
them
waiver
at-
move?
what would
What's
you
your
I
waiver move?
was gonna
Just
drop my first overall pick because I honestly hadn't really thought about this coming in, so I just made a pick off the top of my head. I would drop my first overall pick and add some more.
For who?
But I'm not gonna tell you guys because I'm not allowed to make it.
I would have maybe let you do it if you had told me, but
I was gonna trade the speed for the spin move and swap Octane out for Crash Bandicoot.
I'll allow it.
Boys,
So what's the move? You're dropping Octane.
Dropping out Octane for Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, we can
Does,
do that.
does anybody else have a waiver move they want to make? I mean, since
Nope.
we're doing them.
I
I don't want
love
to be the only
my
exception
team.
here.
I was considering
prefer.
Ganondorf at tight end instead
That
of
would've been a
Big
great tight
Daddy,
end pick.
but I'm gonna
Yeah.
roll with Big Daddy at tight end instead of Ganondorf.
You-
We
you
had
don't
a
have-
question here.
You don't have to worry
in
about
the
my team winning because my quarterback's 10 years old. So.
But
We
he
had a
can catch
question-
my quarterback in a ball, so it's scary.
I want to make sure we're hitting this question. Jesus Christ of the league. Well, welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning in. No idea you were a fan of the show. So should I drop the remaining fab I have on J.K. Dobbins? I have 25 fab left right now. Jerick McKinnon also on waivers. Yeah, I would drop every last penny of it on J.K. Dobbins if he's sitting out there. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Kind of block at least.
Very
Yeah.
few guys on waivers are going to have upside like that. He just had
Yep.
100 yards first game back.
I think you got to do it. And Illmind Jedi in here saying Coop did it again. I said Crash. Great minds think alike. And Spooky had a question for you, Joe. Did you draft Chun-Li or Chumley from Pawn Stars?
Chumley.
I heard Chumley. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Chumley as well.
I don't know.
We'll let you pick up Chun-Li off waivers to replace your Chumley pick.
Yeah, that's okay. We can make that move. Guys, the teams real quick that we have. Alex drafted Kratos at quarterback, Kirby at running back, Sonic at wide receiver, Machamp at tight end, and Duke Nukem at
Damn.
kicker.
That seems
I
bad.
drafted Master Chief at quarterback, Pac-Man at running back, Yoshi at wide receiver, Big Daddy at tight end, and Cinderace at the kicker position. JL, you got Mewtwo as your quarterback, Captain Falcon as your running back, Spider-Man as your wide receiver, Bowser as your tight end, and Chun-Li as your kicker. And then Coop, you've got Ash Ketchum at the quarterback position, Crash Bandicoot at the running back position, Spyro at wide receiver, Donkey Kong at tight end, and the well-known video game character Anderson Silva at kicker.
I was just thinking about Captain Falcon's stiff arm. My God, dude. Through the center of the earth.
Guys, real quick.
Right there, Henry.
Real quick before we go, we had one more question come in here. I wanted to make sure we hit it from Dennis. Dennis said, Who would you start in week 15? Deshaun Watson, Geno Smith, or Justin Fields? Wants to make sure we're looking at matchups right there. So we know that Deshaun Watson is playing against the Ravens this week. Geno Smith has got San Francisco, and then Justin Fields has Philadelphia. So tough matchups all around. I'm going to roll Justin Fields out of those three.
Yep.
What about you?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Fields with the rushing.
Guys,
He
that
makes
is gonna
magic
be-
every time.
That's going to be it for us today. Thank you, everyone who came in and hung out with us. Alex, I want to thank you so much for spending some of your morning with us. We'll get these up on Twitter, and you guys vote for which one is your favorite. But tomorrow morning, we'll be back 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time doing this yet again. Every single morning we're here. But there's a full day of programming here on BSN that you should stick around and enjoy. Moose and Keith coming up next, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. And then Corey Nando and friends right after that to answer all your toughest fantasy questions. Until tomorrow, though, we are out of here. Enjoy your Wednesday. See you on another time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Pew, pew.